It ends with litigation. It ends with fuss. I think that's Dr. Grun's thumbnail that he wrote about this. There's been so many memes about this It Ends With Us book / movie drama that's been happening. This is a book that I did read. I didn't read it before the hype, though. I read it because, I like reading, okay? I like reading. I like romance. And I was very curious about this book because when the movie was coming out, there's a lot of headlines about it. But not just headlines about the actual book, though. It was more like headlines with the drama between maybe the castmates, maybe between the two lead actors and actresses, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And so because of all the drama that was spewing about this, I was very curious about it, where I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this movie and I want to read the fucking book. I'm very curious. And, like I said, I like reading, so I didn't mind either way. But within the past week, there's been more things that have been dropping about what may have really happened behind the scenes. Because funny thing enough, about a week or two ago, I was just thinking about this whole drama thing. And I was like, there hasn't been any follow-up with this drama. I wonder what happened. I'm just so curious. I wonder what happened behind the scenes. But you know what? I guess we'll never really fucking find out, because sometimes in Hollywood, sometimes we get like a little bit tidbit here and there, or sometimes we have someone that comes out and just drops everything. I didn't really expect to hear any of that until until the complaint that was filed by Blake Lively last Friday. She filed a complaint with the Civil Rights Department, and in it had a lot of fucking text messages. Okay, when we get text messages, that is like the juicy details, all right? And we're all wondering, how did she get these text messages? There were text messages that were sent to and from Justin Baldoni, the co-star. And yeah, I think we finally get our answer this week, because after the complaint, a couple days afterwards, there was a lawsuit that was filed against Justin Baldoni by his former PR team. And with that, we found out, oh, okay, that's where all the text messages came from. Okay, because we were wondering what was going on with this. Hi, Brandon. How are you doing today? How's it going? Hello. The drama. Yes, lots of drama indeed. Now, if you guys haven't been following the drama, which, you probably weren't, okay? I was following the drama because, I get some drama stuff on my YouTube feed. I was following the drama, and it all started off with the Ends With Us movie that was coming out. And there was a little bit of there's some like little tidbits here and there about maybe there was some drama behind with the cast members. Maybe, Justin Baldoni made Blake Lively make her feel uncomfortable. Maybe he talked about her weight, and it was just like small stuff here and there. Because what happened was, a lot of people, I think on social media, I think especially on like TikTok, the reason why this is so big on TikTok is because the book, It Ends With Us, it apparently blew up even more on Book Talk, which is TikTok people talking about books and stuff, right? And people were starting to realize that, it's kind of weird that the male co-star, the lead co-star, who is also the director, by the way, was promoting the movie. It seems like maybe by himself, or if they were showing events together, no one was like hanging out with him. All the other co-stars seemed to be avoiding him. No one was taking pictures of him. It was just very, very odd. It's like, why is he promoting this movie by himself? And then everyone else was promoting the movie with Blake Lively. There was like interviews and all that stuff that you would just see Blake Lively, other co-stars together. And then it was just Justin Baldoni. So a lot of people were speculating that maybe there was some drama stewing. Then all of a sudden, on the internet, it drops that Blake Lively had a really bad fucking interview with a reporter. Her name is Kirsty Flaw. And it was a video that just says, I think it was like the interview that made me want to quit my job or something. And so, I was very intrigued. I watched it and I was like, ooh, yikes. That was a very bad interview. It was almost bizarre because I was trying to figure out what was going on. It seemed like in the very beginning of the interview, the reporter said to Blake Lively, congrats on your bump. Blake Lively responds back, was like, oh, congrats on your little bump. And, Kirsty was clearly not pregnant. So not really quite sure what Blake Lively meant by that. Or was she just really nervous? And that was just something that she said. Maybe diarrhea out of the mouth and she wasn't thinking. However, the interview continues to be very fucking awkward and, like I said, bizarre, because Blake Lively turns to her co-star and just keeps talking. At this point, it wasn't even an interview. She was just talking to the co-star, and the interviewer is like sitting there. Like, have you ever been in a conversation where you're clearly not really wanted there, where you're kind of just like in the outside and you're just like, okay, yeah, this is awkward. Why am I here? Well, she couldn't walk away because she was doing the interview. And so to me, it was very awkward. Like I said, very bizarre. And, when I see an interview like that, I'm like, I wonder, did something happen before the interview? Was there something going on between the reporter and Blake Lively, some drama beforehand that we don't know about? I don't know. It was just really weird and bizarre. Or did Blake Lively, was she just really fucking rude and she just didn't realize that she was rude? Or was she being rude on purpose? Did she not like the comment about the baby bump? I don't know. Lots of things were going in my head during that time because I just thought it was really, like I said, bizarre interview. And so when the internet got a hold of this, they jumped on Blake Lively. The internet, I don't know, it was crazy because not only did internet jump on Blake Lively, it was like some people assumed that maybe Blake Lively took control of the movie because, she's a powerful actress. She's got a, mostly it's because of Ryan Reynolds, right? Ryan Reynolds was is very big. He's in Deadpool, Marvel, blah, blah. And so people were thinking, well, maybe Blake Lively was trying to leverage, using her powerful husband to get what she wanted on the set. And these were just things that people were just speculating. No one really fucking knew. And so after we saw this interview, people were like, oh, damn, I knew it. She was a mean girl, blah, blah, blah. And then after that, it was just a huge bombshells after bombshells that people were just dropping about Blake Lively. When I watched them, though, honestly, a lot of them to me didn't really seem like a huge fucking deal. I just thought it was just a huge fucking dog pile on Blake Lively. And I was just like, yeah, she had a really bad interview, but everything afterwards that I saw, maybe there was more things that I missed out on. But the stuff that I saw was just like, I don't know, it just maybe it was just a bad moment. It was it wasn't a big deal for me. I don't know. But she was dog piled on immensely, which is crazy because during that time, Deadpool was happening. Deadpool was really huge and Hugh Jackman was back. And yeah, it was really wild to see everything happen in real time. And then all of a sudden it gets kind of quiet, people stop posting about Blake Lively for a little bit. It kind of dies down. And then we see this complaint dropped by Blake Lively last Friday. And with that, we got to see some text messages and all the other stuff. And so I'm going to go over it. And there's more. There's another lawsuit, there's a lawsuit that's happening with Justin Baldoni, followed by his former PR team. So I don't know, just lots of drama stuff. Okay, I'm going to just catch up with the chat. Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Hello, Bleep. How's it going? Let me put my glasses on, actually. Hi, Books with Sarah. Hello, hello. Oh, yes, and I forgot to mention about Amber Heard. Yes, Amber Heard, of course, takes this opportunity and inserts herself. She's like, oh, shit, is this my moment here? Is this my moment for me to come back? I don't know. Maybe it is. But she makes a statement and we'll definitely get to it in a moment. Hi, Laura. How are you doing today? The Det v. Heard trial that happened will automatically put Blake Lively in favor. I don't think so. I don't think so. I felt like the opposite happened. I felt like before the complaint was dropped, it was definitely, the favor was definitely in Justin Baldoni. And then when the complaint dropped, I think I saw some hesitance of people believing the complaint fully. Some people were saying, oh, Blake Lively's just lying again because, she's trying to make up for her, the outlook on her was really bad, right? And so I don't think that Det v. Heard stuff put Blake Lively in favor. I think it's actually the opposite. I think it was more Baldoni. He didn't tell her that she was exposed to COVID. She got sick, and then her infant baby got sick too. Yes, we're going to read about that in the complaint and all the other stuff. It's a lot. Hi, Dahlia. How are you doing today? Hi, Joe. Hello. Currently fighting food, all that ham. Oh my gosh. We went to a Christmas party yesterday and they made smoked brisket, 20 hours. So good. So delicious. Hi, Sarah. How's it going? How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Brandon, hello. Oh my God. We got Boone's Toilet Hooch up in here. Well, hello there. Interesting username. The complaint is wild. So much stuff makes sense after reading it. From what I know, the woman who interviewed Blake Lively, where she looked like a mean girl, wasn't paid by the PR team. Yes, there was a New York Times article that was written about the complaint, and that's essentially where a lot of people learn about the complaint. And Kirsty Flaw, she made a video talking about how she wasn't paid by the PR team. We'll definitely go over the timeline because a lot of people do suspect that, maybe she was influenced somehow because the timing was just too good. For me, I honestly don't know. I will say the timing was definitely coincidence, but it's possible that she could have just, decided to release a video about Blake Lively and it could have been entirely coincidental. But to me, when I watch her videos, she seems very genuine. But again, I don't know her. But she seems genuine in her videos. Hello. Yes, it's going to be the battle of the PR titans. Hi, Melissa. 8 years ago, when the interview took place, there was a whole Hollywood woman standing up for themselves on the red carpet against sexism and being asked about both their appearance and clothes. Yes, see, what I don't like about the cancellation of Blake Lively was, well, one, it was 8 years ago. It's a long time ago. People can change. I don't like canceling for people for things that they've done like a very, very long time ago, right? Unless it's like super, super egregious. And you can tell that based on the behavior, they haven't learned, maybe. But I mean, it was like 8 years ago. The interview, yes, was very bizarre, very rude, disrespectful. But I don't know. It was just so weird that I'm just like, I wonder what happened. I think a lot of people were waiting for the Blake Lively apology, because that never happened. But now I'm thinking, okay, well, Blake Lively, if she thought that possibly this reporter was part of the Justin Baldoni campaign against her, or has some sort of like inkling or clue about her, maybe a hint, maybe someone told her, then maybe it makes sense why she never reached out to Kirsty and apologized, because I think that would have been a good thing to do. But, you know, I get why she may have not wanted to if she thinks a certain thing. Nicole, hello. The interviewer came out and had said that she couldn't conceive herself. So Blake saying that comment really hurt her. Yes, she did mention that. Blake did not have to be like that with the interviewer. Yep. I think when you are a celebrity, you are held to a higher standard. People look at you like you're an idol. And especially when people are like in that work industry, right? It's like, it kind of sucks to meet a star and they are rude to you in an interview, right? That really fucking sucks, because you know what? To a celebrity, that's a blip in your mind. But to that other person, they might remember that forever. Hey, Aaron. Hi, Krista Brown. How are you doing today? Hello, hello. Blind Purple. Hello. Blake needs to work on her interviews and her image. However, this lawsuit is very concerning if it is true. The interviewer spoke out in a channel called Popcorn Planet. Yep. Amber's a very different case. Yes. Too much evidence that she was an abusive liar. I find it ironic that BL was supportive of Woody Allen. Oh gosh, we can't get started with Woody Allen. Okay, the Woody Allen stuff is wild too. I try to follow that, but it's just so hard to. Yeah, the Woody Allen stuff is crazy. That's all I will say. I haven't seen there's a doc that was apparently made. I haven't watched that yet, but a very crazy one. Nicole, the reason why Amber Heard is being thrown in here, Selena Gomez and Bieber is also really, I haven't heard about Selena Gomez or Hailey Bieber at all, because Blake added to it, to the complaint. It's a wild drama. My only issue is the Woody Allen thing. I don't know Blake's stance on Woody Allen. I haven't heard anything about that, but the Woody Allen situation on its own, very fucking crazy. Yeah. Now she wants to believe when she didn't believe others. Hey, Lauren, how are you doing today? How's it going? Hey, Corey and Chad. Hope everyone who celebrates had a lovely Christmas. Yeah, happy Merry Christmas. And I think it was like the first day of Hanukkah, right? Yeah, happy holidays, y'all. I hope you guys had a good one. She picked on Princess Kate and then also had to remove when she found out she had cancer. Okay, so the Princess Kate thing, I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember my reaction of it. Does that make sense? So I forgot what happened, but I remember my reaction of it was like, kind of like yikes. But to me, I didn't think it was like a super major big deal. But maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe I have to refresh my memory on that. But I don't know. I just remember that there was a lot of like videos about Blake Lively being a mean girl, being a bully. And a lot of those videos that I watched, I was just like, I mean, these are some weird comments, but not a big deal. There was one about like her calling her cast and co-stars like a bunch of monkeys or something, because like, I don't know, to me, I would just take it as, oh, they're just being wild and they're just like kind of being immature or something like that. I don't think she was using it in like a derogatory way, but I think there's just a lot with the Blake Lively stuff where I saw people were just posting videos about her mean girl. And I was just like, like, I don't know. I don't know if it was worth like the cancellation that she had, but I would say the worst of it was definitely the interview that she had with Kirsty. That was pretty fucking bad. Ooh, who had a Filipino tocino? That sounds really good. Okay, so we are going to be we'll try to cover everything as much as we can. We're definitely going to start with the complaint. We're going to see a lot of text messages, and then within the complaint, they're going to kind of try to build out a timeline. I'm going to try to follow through the headlines that were happening during this time so we can understand how things were happening like sort of in real time. And then also, like I said, there was a lawsuit that was filed in New York against Justin Baldoni, and that was filed by his former PR. So now we know it's like, oh, that's where the damn text messages came from. Very interesting. Because I was wondering, I was like, how did Blake Lively get all these text messages? That's a lot of stuff to be getting, especially this early on. Whew. Okay. To be fair, Blake is a Nepo baby. She was born into fame, has lots of money, plus her husband is Ryan Reynolds, so it makes sense why she is a mean girl. Could she be canceled for it? No. I think depends. I think depends on what level of mean girl. I don't know, because I felt like in the interviews that I saw, it was like the one with Kersey was definitely the worst. All the other ones, I'm like, I don't know. I'm like on the fence about it. Like, or some that was just like, no, I don't think this is like a big deal at all. But I think it's a big deal right now because it's like a hate train against Blake Lively. But I mean, like, if she came out as like a straight up mean girl and people really didn't like her for it, I don't know. I guess like I could see why someone is canceled for their, if people conceive them as like had a conceived notion of them being like a mean girl. Like, I understand it. But to me, when I was shown why she was a mean girl, aside from the Kirsty interview, all the other ones I was just like, I don't know. I don't know. I didn't really see a lot of it. She can be unlikable and she could still be telling the truth here. Yes, definitely. Of course. Absolutely. I mean, I would definitely say that I can definitely understand people's, why people have a negative perception of Blake Lively, because she does come off as someone that could be very unlikable. Does that make sense? But for me, the threshold just wasn't like really there, with the exception of the Kirsty interview. But like I said, maybe there's some other interviews that I missed or some other videos or some other drama about her that I didn't see. I just saw whatever popped up in my YouTube feed. Whatever's on my YouTube feed. Hi, Rain. How are you doing today? Yes. Hello, lady. How's it going? Hey, everyone. Hope you had a good holiday. Yes. I hope y'all had fun. I have heard that as well. Nicole says, my conspiracy is that they're both horrible. Both Blake, both Justin. They're both just unlikable. I've seen that in the comments as well about Blake and Justin. It's definitely like a mix right now, I would say, especially with this complaint that comes out. But remember, again, this is still a complaint. Once we hear from the other side, maybe there'll be a changing of mind, maybe not. We'll see, right? We'll see what happens. We're just in the very early stages. Where I'm at personally is that I think Blake Lively was incredibly rude in that interview, but I think the cancellation against her, to me, I thought it was a little too much. In terms of Justin Baldoni, I don't really know much about Justin Baldoni, but these text messages, they look really fucking bad. However, I'm always giving people an opportunity to explain themselves, because you never know. You never know. Once you get a full picture, maybe things change. But like I said, these text messages, pretty fucking bad. Hey, Hugo, how are you doing today? Hello. Well, there goes the sequel. I don't know. They could still, I don't think Justin Baldoni had any interest in doing a sequel anyways. He, when asked about it, he was like, well, Blake Lively can direct. And I don't know, to me, that kind of sounded like an underhanded comment. And it was like, oh yeah, there's rumors about Blake Lively taking over. And then when he was asked about it, it's like, oh yeah, she can direct. Yeah, let her direct it. I feel like it could be seen as him just saying that, like, yeah, she tried to control my project, so let her direct the next one. All right, so with the complaints, I have it zoomed in. Everything looks good. Got my glasses on. All right, y'all. So this was filed last Friday, again, in California Civil Rights Department. It's just a complaint. It is not a formal lawsuit. Maybe you'll get there. 1. On January 4, 2024, prior to resuming filming of It Ends With Us, following guild strikes, an all-hands meeting was convened to address the hostile work environment that had nearly derailed production of the film. Oh, by the way, apparently filming started in 2023, so about a year before. Attendees of the meeting included 1, Justin Baldoni, who is the co-chairman and co-founder of Wayfarer Studios, the owner of the film, as well the director, executive producer, and the actor in the lead role of Ryle Kincaid. 1 in chat if you guys read the book. 2 in chat if you watched the movie. 3 in chat if you did both. 4 in chat if you did neither. 5 in chat, fuck you, Corgi, I don't remember the options. I better not be seeing any 5s in the chat, okay? Oh, God, it's always from the mods. It's always the mods. Lauren's a 4. We got some 4s. We got some 2s. Once you go beyond 3, it's like, no, please stop. Please stop. 4s. Okay, 4. I see another 5 there. 4s. Really? Okay, I'm a 3. I read the book and I watched the movie recently. All right. Number 2, Jamie Heath, the chief executive officer of Wayfair and producer of the film. 3 I don't know if it's Ange or Angie, maybe it's Angie Giannetti, the film's representative for its distributor, Sony Pictures Entertainment. 4, Alex Sachs, a producer on the film. And 5, Todd Black, a producer on the film. And 6, Blake Lively, who played the role of Lily Bloom in the film. Miss Lively also had an agreed upon right to have a representative present. She chose her husband, given that the meeting was about repeated sexual harassment and other disturbing behavior by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. Again, at this point, Blake Lively was getting dogpiled on. She was canceled. You know, her other businesses that she was, I think she had like a liquor business, hair care business or some shit. They were tanking apparently, okay? Her Instagram, I think even till this very day, her Instagram, her comments are like limited, okay? You can't be commenting on her Instagram posts. The only thing that we heard about Justin Baldoni so far, I mean, I heard, like I said, I heard a little bit of rumblings about him being difficult to work with, that people felt uncomfortable. She felt uncomfortable with him on the set, and that he made comments about her weight gain post having a baby. That's all I heard. But honestly, the Justin Baldoni stuff, I heard it from the beginning, and then mostly it was all the Blake Lively stuff. That's all we knew so far at this point. Number 2, as discussed in details below, Miss Lively was forced to address concerns about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct with them directly, and began doing so before filming began. The concerns she raised were not only for herself, but for the other female cast and crew, some of whom had also spoken up. But the January 4th meeting occurred only after Wayfair had rebuffed Miss Lively's efforts repeatedly. 3. During the January, what is it, January? It's January, right? No, it's January. Sorry. I'm like cooking myself. During the January 4 meeting, the parties discussed in detail the inappropriate conduct that Miss Lively, her employees, other cast, and crew experienced at the hands of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. After the list below was reviewed and discussed in its entirety, all parties present agreed that the outlined conduct would cease. We got a lot here. I'm going to try to read as fast as I can, but we got, what was this, like 30 on here? Number 1, no more showing nude videos or images of women, including the producer's wife, to Blake Lively and her employees. Number 2, no more mention of Baldoni or Mr. Heath's previous pornography addiction, or Blake Lively's lack of pornography consumption to Blake Lively or to other crew members. 3, no more discussions to Blake Lively and her employees about personal experiences with sex, including as it relates to spouses or others. Number 4, no more mention of Blake Lively and her employees of personal times that physical consent was not given in sexual acts as either the abuser or the abused. 5, no more descriptions of their own genitalia to Blake Lively. 6, no more jokes, disparaging comments to be made to Blake Lively and or her employees about HR complaints Wayfair has already received on the set, or about missing the HR meeting. 7, no more inquiries by Mr. Baldoni to Blake Lively trainer without her knowledge or consent to disclose her weight. 8, no more mention by Mr. Baldoni of him speaking to Blake Lively's dead father. Yeah, that's a bizarre one, right? Don't worry, they'll get into details about that one. 9, no more pressing by Mr. Baldoni for Blake Lively to disclose her religious beliefs or unsolicited sharing of his. 10, if Blake Lively and or her infant is exposed to COVID again, Blake Lively must be provided with immediate notice as soon as Wayfair or any other producers become aware of such exposure without her needing to uncover days later herself. 11, an intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Blake Lively is in set on scenes with Mr. Baldoni. Number 12, no more personal physical touching of or sexual comments by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath to be tolerated by Blake Lively and or any of her employees, as well as any female cast or crew without their express consent. 13, no more improvising of kissing, and all intimate touch must be choreographed in advance with Blake Lively and an intimacy coordinator. No biting or sucking of lip without Blake Lively consent. All intimate on-camera touch and conversations must be in character, not spoken from Mr. Baldoni to Blake Lively personally. It's actually wild. Before this before this complaint came out, I think about like over a year ago, I always thought about, I wonder how it feels to be on a set with someone that you have a kissing scene, a sex scene with, and you fucking hated their guts, or they were inappropriate with you, or they were sexually harassing you. And I was just like thinking about like, I wonder if this is something that people just kind of just like swallow their pride, or just take it and not complain. Or maybe Hollywood's so good at having all these rules and, you know, like expectations before the filming happens. And I was just like thinking about this. Like imagine like, because like think about it, like for those of us who's been in a workplace, right, and you've had a coworker that was like really inappropriate with you. Imagine that was a coworker that you had to like kiss in a scene or pretend to have sex with in a scene. Whew. 14. Blake Lively to have representation on all set at times with the monitor during scenes involving nudity, sexual activity, or violence with Mr. Baldoni. 15. All actors participating with Blake Lively in intimate scenes involving her being in a state of nudity or simulated nudity must have classified as active working actors, not friends of the directors or producers, and must be pre-approved by Blake Lively. Yeah, that'd be kind of weird if you're like filming a sex scene and someone's like friend is there too. They're not even like on the set or anything. It's just like, oh, hey, I just brought my friend along. It's like, yeah, I don't want them there. 16, no more filming of Blake Lively nudity without fully executed SAG-compliant nudity rider in place. Any such footage already shot without this rider in place and in direct violation of SAG requirements may not be used without Blake Lively and her legal representative's prior written consent. Any scene by Blake Lively or another performer depicting the character of Lily that involves nudity or simulated sex must be conducted strictly in accordance with the above referenced nudity rider and must adhere to the Blake Lively approved script. 18. An intimacy coordinator must be on set for all scenes involving nudity and or simulated sex and must have a monitor to ensure compliance. 19. No monitors to be viewed or accessible on set or remotely during closed set scenes except by Blake Lively approved essential crew and personnel. 20. No more entering, attempting to enter, interrupting, pressuring, or asking Blake Lively to enter her trailer or her makeup trailer by Heath or Mr. Baldoni while she is nude for any reason. 21. No more private multi-hour meetings in Blake Lively's trailer with Mr. Baldoni crying with no outside Blake Lively appointed representative to monitor. No more pressing Mr. Baldoni to sage any of the Blake Lively's employees. I know Mr. Baldoni, I know he's like very religious, and I think, didn't he name his company, or he named something after his religion or something? 23, producer Alex Sachs to be given standard rights, inclusion, and authority per her job description and as represented to Blake Lively when signing on. There was no intimacy coordinator involved, which is weird as fuck. I think there was, but they just want to make sure the intimacy coordinator was there for like all the scenes. I don't know if the intimacy coordinator was like a Hannah where she was like sort of there, sort of not there. I don't know. But I would assume they would have been hired from, the get-go. Where are we at? Producer Alex Sachs to be given standard rights, inclusion, and authority per her job description and as represented to Blake Lively when signing on. 24. Sony must have an active daily role in overseeing physical production for the remainder of the film to monitor safety for cast and crew, schedule, logistics, problem solving, and creative. 25. Engagement of an experienced producer to supervise the safety of the cast, crew, schedule, logistics, problem solving, and gosh, I can't look at the word problem solving anymore because when I ever think of problem solving, I always think of Sarah Boone just immediately. Like, oh God. Oh, I don't know. I just think of Sarah Boone. Problem solving. And creative for the remainder of the shoot. Examples: Todd Lieberman, Elizabeth Cantillon, Miri Yoon, Lynette Howell. 26. Engagement of a Blake Lively approved A-list stunt double to perform Lily in scenes with Mr. Baldoni involving R-word and or violence. Blake Lively to perform only close-up work or work from a Blake Lively pre-approved shot list in scenes with Mr. Baldoni involving sexual violence. No more adding of sex scenes or oral sex on camera climaxing by BL outside of the scope of the script. BL is Blake Lively. Approved when signing on to the project. 28. No more asking or pressuring Blake Lively to cross physical picket lines. 29. No more retaliatory or abusive behavior to Blake Lively for raising concerns or requesting safeguards. 30. Only an in-person meeting before production resumes with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Miss Sachs, the Sony representative, the new producer, Blake Lively's spouse, Ryan Reynolds, to confirm and approve a plan for implementation of the above that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Blake Lively, her employees, and all the cast and crew moving forward. Sarah says, why was there no intimacy coordinator? In my understanding, I think they did have one that was hired, but maybe there were some scenes that were filmed and that person just wasn't there, wasn't present, maybe? Okay, so number 4. This meeting was an essential step in the process the parties had agreed to several months before to allow the cast and crew to safely resume production of the film. In mid-November 2023, the parties had agreed to writing to implement a list of protections enumerated in a contract entitled Protections for Return to Production, attached hereto as Exhibit A, which included 17 provisions designed to require Wayfair to cease the on-set behavior of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. One of those provisions required an all-hands meeting to confirm and approve a plan for the implementation of certain protections that will be adhered to for the physical and emotional safety of Ms. Lively, her employees, all cast and crew moving forward. Now, the thing about this is it seems like we're going to have a lot of witnesses. So either witnesses that are going to either be in support of Blake Lively or other witnesses that might say something that's in support of Justin Baldoni. But there are, seems to me like a lot of witnesses because, you know, most often when you're in a work environment and say you're like sexually harassed by a coworker, sometimes it's just a one-on-one interaction. They ain't nobody to witness anything, right? It's your word against their word. So in this case, possibly lots of witnesses. And not only that, sometimes, you know, if it's like someone that's like likes to sexually harass like other coworkers as well, you might get lucky and other people might join in with you and then you can go report to the HR together. But it seems like to me, you know, it seems like it wasn't just Blake Lively. It might have been other cast and crew as well that were also, that it could have been happening to and was also present when some of the things were happening. So we'll see. We'll see if, you know, we get more people that maybe we'll get like more, like, I don't know, future affidavits or something. After receiving the document, Wayfair responded that Wayfair, Sony, and production respectfully not acknowledge that Ms. Lively has concerns regarding safety, professionalism, and workplace culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outline requests, we find most of them not only reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of all parties involved. So it's like, okay, well, we're not saying that we totally agree with everything you're saying, you know, and there might be some differing perspectives, but yeah, okay, fine. We agree with most of them. And yeah, we'll say, you know, we'll agree to what you want. That way we can continue on with the filming. The way that this is worded just sounds very lawyerly to me. Number 5. At the end of the January 4 meeting, having discussed at length the details of the concerns that have been expressed by Ms. Lively and others, the parties agreed to implement and follow the protections for return to production to ensure the film could be completed, marketed, and released safely and successfully. And it was. The production of the film resumed on January 5th and concluded on February 9, 2024. The film has been a resounding success. Do you guys remember, was It Ends With Us? Was it coming out during the same time as Deadpool? Or it was like a little bit after Deadpool, right? I think Deadpool came out first, like during, was it summertime? And then It Ends With Us was like beginning of autumn, if I remember correctly. Number 6, leading up to and in connection with the release of the film during the summer of 2024, Ms. Lively and fellow cast members promoted the film in accordance with a marketing plan created and delivered by the film's distributor, Sony, which is summarized in the talking points attached hereto as Exhibit C. Ms. Lively and other cast members were under a contractual obligation to render promotional services in accordance with the marketing plan. The marketing plan directed the cast to focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about domestic violence and to avoid talking about the film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. So Blake Lively got completely shit on by the internet for the way that she promoted the movie. A lot of people were like, why is she talking about flowers? Why is she talking about outfits? Why is she talking about all this happy shit when the movie stems from domestic violence? That seems very tone deaf. That's what a lot of people were saying about her. And so now that we find out, and this complaint was, well, under what Sony wanted the cast and crew members to talk about all the light stuff. You know, it's a story about hope. It's a story about a young woman who had to live through, you know, something very traumatic when she was a child. When she was a child. And then, you know, as she grew up, you know, she met another guy and that was very traumatic for her. This is a story about hope. You know, this is a story about, you know, what you can be and how you can escape from it, essentially. And so when we were watching her interviews, yeah, a lot of people were like, damn, like, this is like a movie about DV, you know, and like you're just over here just promoting, you know, talking about flowers and fashion, and people didn't like that. But now we know that, oh, it's because Sony had this whole outline thing of how they wanted their actors and actresses, how they wanted them to discuss the movie. Where the fuck is it? Is this it right here? It Ends With Us. Is this it? It ends with us, the first Colleen Hoover novel adapted for the big screen, tells compelling story of Lily Bloom. I think it just goes over, the book. A woman who overcomes a traumatic childhood to embark in a new life in Boston and chase a lifelong dream of opening her own business. A chance meeting with a charming neurosurgeon sparks an intense connection, but as the two fall deeply in love, Lily begins to see the sides of Ryle that reminds her of her parents' relationship. When Lily's first love, Atlas, suddenly re-enters her life, her relationship with Ryle is upended. Lily realized she must rely on her own strength to make an impossible choice for her future. So that is basically what happens in the book. She grew up from a very chaotic household. Her dad was extremely abusive towards her mom. There was nothing that she was able to do about it because she was just a kid. And her mom had a hard time wanting to leave the relationship. The mom continued to cover for the dad. The mom continued, even being with the dad, even when he was eventually like sick towards the end and he dies, right? And so in the beginning of the film, she's like giving a speech at the funeral and she's like, oh, these are the 4 things that I like about my dad. And she just stands there. She says nothing. And so people either took it as, oh, she said nothing because she was really choked up and, she was really sad. But to her, she said nothing because there was absolutely nothing positive she could say about her dad. And so as she's like in this new city, she meets this really charming neurosurgeon. They hit it off and she realizes that he's, like really fucking abusive. Although the way, oh no, I forgot they did change it. Because in the movie, to me, it made it seem like it was like accidental. Like, oh, he accidentally pushed her or he accidentally like shoved her away. But then I think towards the end, sorry, spoiler, towards the end, it showed that no, he did it on purpose. But that is essentially what the movie is about. It stems from DV. And so when she was promoting it, people were like, why the fuck is she promoting the movie this way? It's so weird. This is supposed to be like, it's not supposed to be light and fluffy, right? It's supposed to be deep and dark. And so here is what the talking points, what Sony gave to the crew, I guess. What to avoid. Focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about DV. Empowerment is not just about standing up to adversity, but also about having the power to overcome within oneself and grow from it and developing agency to shape the future. Avoid describing the film as a love story or a love triangle. It's a story of Lily learning how to take agency of her future. Avoid talking about this film that makes it feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. Avoid talking about the film being representative of every woman's story. There are many stories of DV, and this is just one perspective that is inspired by Colleen Hoover's own experiences growing up. Brandon, all of these rules mean multiple people had to agree, so it was a problem, but I really want to know if he broke the rules afterwards. I don't know. For me, it wouldn't matter if he broke it afterwards. It would just show that he's even more a piece of shit, assuming it's true. But the fact that the complaints of all the stuff that he allegedly did before, that's already pretty bad for me, if it's true. But again, I'm always willing to wait and give his side of the story. And then, definitely, I feel like he's definitely going to respond to it, right? Rain, from what I've heard, they were completely pressuring her to be completely nude during the childbirth scene, but she didn't bulge. She didn't, not bulge. She didn't, she didn't, isn't there another term for that? Not bulge. She didn't something and wore a hospital gown. Yeah, I heard about that too. I don't know if that's in the complaint or not. I think they wanted her to like tear off her clothes and then give birth naked. And then apparently Blake Lively and some of the people were like, oh, that's like, I don't think women actually do that. Like, no. They might have hired later, but the one in the interviews for the movie press, Justin said Blake took control of intimate scenes and Blake replied, which shouldn't happen. So no coordinator. I'll take a look at it. She did take it too far, keeping it light, like promoting her. Yeah, dude, she was like promoting her. She is like, to me, it was pretty. I don't know how to describe that behavior sometimes. Where, how would I describe it? Because she was promoting her, the Betty Boos. Yeah, it was like, I think she was promoting her Betty Boos. The hair care line, I don't remember hearing her promote her hair care line, but she was like promoting her products. And I remember seeing her in other interviews where she would just like shamelessly just promote her products. That could be seen as a good salesperson, I guess. But at the same time, I don't know, when you're promoting your own shit, you just got to be careful sometimes. Sometimes it could be like a little too much and it could be taken the wrong way. There's always a right moment for everything. And I do understand what people say when they're saying that, like, oh, you're in a movie and, it's about domestic violence and you're promoting your alcohol. why are you promoting your alcohol? You know, a lot of times when a lot of domestic violence happens, maybe it happens when people are under the influence of alcohol. So I could totally see people saying that. So I don't know. I think it was really weird that she would promote her alcohol during this whole press tour thing. But I think I remember seeing like one interview, maybe. I don't know if I remember seeing the rest though, but I gotta take a look at it. Hello, Gwen. How are you doing today? Gwen, thank you so much for the 499. Wouldn't the rest of the cast be obliged by the same rules? Yet the rest of the cast didn't come off as tone deaf. Blake is using it as an excuse. From the interviews that I saw so far, it seems like they were all kind of like on the same page when they were talking about it. I don't know. Like I said, maybe there are some interviews that I haven't seen, but it seems like they're all kind of on the same page. They're all kind of just like, you know, like whatever she was talking about, they were talking about too. I feel like no one really got into like the deep, dark depths of like DV in the movie. Opportunistic. Okay, yeah. That might be a word to like, yeah, opportunistic. She was honestly promoting it like Barbie. Yeah, like being very upbeat about it. Yeah. All right, let's go back to this. Ooh, hi. Not that one. Avoid. Okay, only if asked. Any questions about the story not being authentic representation of DV? I think Colleen Hoover, the author, has her own drama about her, or like mini drama, not like real drama or anything. I think a mini drama. A lot of people do not like Colleen Hoover's books because they say that she tries to glamorize it or something. I haven't read any of her other books. I read It Ends with Us. And I didn't think she was trying to glamorize DV in any way, but people were referencing to Colleen Hoover's, I think like books, like maybe there are other books that maybe she was. I don't know. But I don't have any opinion about that. But I did see like, you know, there was a lot of like, ew, you read Colleen Hoover's book? Eh. I don't know any of the other drama about Colleen Hoover. I just know that people had an issue with her writing about DV and then like how she writes romance in general or something like that. So I don't know anything about that. I'm just letting you guys know, but that's what I heard. Any questions about the lack of diversity in the cast? We have such a wonderful cast who all bring something unique in telling this powerful story of one woman learning to take agency over her future. I'm so proud to be a part of this incredible group of women who have to make this film that is inspired by Colleen Hoover's own deeply personal story. All right, let's go back to the complaint. Shoot, I forgot what page I was on. Oh, here are the text messages. No, we ain't there yet, y'all. Almost there. Budge. Is it Budge? Yeah, Budge, not Bulge. Yeah, Budge. Thank you. It's Budge. Blake Lively didn't budge. Okay. I was like, Bulge doesn't sound right. There's something about Bulge that doesn't sound right. Where are we at? We are... Okay, so this is how they had to promote the film. And again, this explains why Blake Lively didn't really talk about DV and why it was mostly just fluff and I guess just talking about, oh, Lily's just a person. You know, it's a movie about hope. Let's focus on the positives. Let's focus on the sunshines and the rainbows. All right, what else was there? The marketing plan directed the cast to focus more on Lily's strength and resilience as opposed to describing the film as a story about DV. Avoid talking about films that makes it heavy or sad as a story of hope. Number 7. In the days leading up to the film's release, Mr. Baldoni abruptly pivoted away from the film's marketing plan and the types of publicity activities in which he had previously participated. What the public didn't know was that Mr. Baldoni and his team did so in an effort to explain why many of the film's cast and crew had unfollowed Mr. Baldoni on social media and were not appearing with him in public. So apparently, from what I've read, Baldoni was following, Colin Hoover and some of the members of the cast. However, when people saw that no one followed him back, maybe they did follow him at some point and maybe they unfollowed him. Maybe there's something going on here. Maybe there's some drama. To that end, he and his team used DV survivor content to protect his public image, as described in further details below. We will get to that. We will definitely get to that. Because I do remember hearing about this, like, Baldoni is the only one who's talking about DV in the movie. He's the only one who's talking about how serious it is. He's not over there just promoting his own, his hair care line or alcohol or talking about all the fluff stuff. He's talking about the nitty gritty. And I remember hearing about that during this time. Now we get to see more behind the scenes stuff. I love Blake Lively in Age of Adeline. Oh, I forgot she was in Age of Adeline. Yes, I did like Age of Adeline. I remember when I heard that she was in this movie, I was really excited because I was like, oh, I haven't seen Blake Lively in anything in a while. I want to watch this. I liked her in A Simple Favor, the one with Anna Kendrick. But yeah, I feel like she's rarely in any movies. I mean, she was in that other movie that we don't really talk about. What's it called? The Green Goblin? The Green something? That movie was so fucking bad. But yeah, I forgot she was in Age of Adeline. I did like her in that one. Or I like that movie. I think it's creative differences that happens all the time while filming, especially when they're following a adaptation of a book. They never follow the book 100%. I think they did a pretty good job at following the book in this movie. I think it was pretty decent in my opinion. The ending, gosh, like there was some, I just felt like there was a lot of weird stuff. There was like one thing that happens in the book / movie where Lily Bloom, the main character, just could not forgive her husband for. Like absolutely could not. And I remember when they filmed that scene, it was like, I don't know, it was weird to me. I was like, that's kind of weird. Like it didn't happen the way the book happened. They didn't have to follow it, but it just felt very janky to me. And then everything that happened afterwards felt very janky to me. Like it was either rushed film or the cuts were just not great, or there were some scenes that were missing that they were trying to make up for by trying to like throw it all together. I don't know, like towards the end, it was just like weird. It just didn't feel like it flowed right at all to me. Yes. Oh, yeah. The Green Lantern. Yeah. The Green Lantern. Oh, gosh. We don't talk about the Green Lantern, right? I completely forgot about, the Green Lantern. I almost called the Green Goblin. Hi, good guy. How are you doing today? Hello. Wait, did I say hi to Go Lucky earlier? The Green Lantern, the only good thing is that she met Ryan through it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how they met. Yeah. Green Lantern. Okay, so number 8, what the public also didn't know was this was the beginning of a multi-tiered plan that Mr. Baldoni and his team described as social manipulation, designed to destroy Miss Lively's reputation. That plan was backed by virtually unlimited resources. Wayfounder's co-founder, co-chairman, and leader financier is a multi-billionaire, Steve Sarowitz, who divulged at the film's New York premiere on August 6, 2024, that he was prepared, so say anyone know, to spend $100 million to ruin the lives of Miss Lively and her family. With that backing, Mr. Baldoni and his Wayfair associates embarked on a sophisticated press and digital plan in retaliation for Ms. Lively exercising her legally protected right to speak up about their misconduct on the set, with the additional objective of intimidating her and anyone else from revealing in public what actually occurred. So it's possible that they were trying to get ahead of it just in case it got leaked that there was a sexual harassment issue on the set, Maybe they wanted to get ahead of it, and maybe they wanted to make sure that Blake Lively is someone that is not credible and you can't believe her, just in case she decides to leak her side of the story, right? I could totally see it happening that way too, possibly. Number 9, on July 31st, 2024, following the recommendations of their publicist Jennifer Abel, Wayfair, Mr. Baldoni retained a crisis communication specialist named Melissa Nathan and her company, The Agency. Miss Nathan delivered a proposal to Mr. Baldoni, which included a website to discuss, full Reddit, full social account takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything, engage with audiences in the right way, start threads of theories, discuss. This is the way to be fully 100% protective. Honestly, I'm not fucking surprised. Like, I'm not surprised that there is a specialist out there who thrives in this, who thrives in getting all their minions out there into the social media, starting threads, having all the bots and stuff like that. Like, that's no surprise, right? No fucking surprise. Now, to see it in action and to see it being followed by text messages, oof, major yikes. Miss Nathan also proposed the creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change the narrative and stay on track. Per Miss Nathan, all of this will be mostly importantly untraceable. And Miss Abel described it. The plan was to engage in social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the negative, as well as social manipulation. But here's what I believe. I believe that there was genuine hate for Blake Lively. It was a lot. It was trending to hate on Blake Lively. There were so many videos on YouTube about Blake Lively. Like, oh, here's an interview that she did, a couple years ago. Oh, here's her on the set of blah, blah, blah. And so it was a trend to hate on Blake Lively, and people were jumping on it and people were consuming it. I was consuming it because I was very fucking curious. This plan went well beyond standard crisis PR, and what Miss Nathan proposed included a practice known as Astroturfing. The faker ass? Faker ass, right? I think it's a faker ass. Which has been defined as the practice of publishing opinions or comments on the internet and the media that appear to come from ordinary members of the public, but actually come from a particular company or political group. Astroturfing. Interesting term. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being tricked. Maybe a lot of it was botted. Maybe a lot of it was just manipulation. But I feel like there was a genuine reaction to Blake Lively, and especially with her interview with Kirsty Flaw. Gwyn. I already read that. Rain, I'm telling you guys, never to trust a male feminist who yaps a little too much about being one. Gwen, and what's the logic about being completely naked while giving birth? Who does that too? I agree about men claiming to be feminists. I think they're phony, but I think Blake is also a fake feminist. I think Baldoni and Blake are both phony narcissists, and this is about a ridiculous PR war. How do they prove that? I wonder. If the director believes it's more realistic, then I could see a director such as suggesting it. I've seen plenty of movies when I'm left thinking, was that love scene necessary? Oh my God, we better stick to the complaint, man. Going down Taylor Swift and Scooter Braun is like a whole other can of worms. Hi, Ginny. How are you doing today? Yes, he's from the Jane the Virgin show. Yeah, I haven't seen Jane the Virgin. I'm sorry. I hear it's a really good show. I heard that he was on this show, and that's where he became really big. And then from that, he decided to have his own media company. And that's why he created his own media company. And when he read It Ends With Us, the book, I think it was like sent to him or something. He said that there's parts of the book that he cried on, when there was the scene, I think in the rooftop or something. So he decided to purchase the rights to It Ends With Us and make a movie about it. But I don't know if Justin Baldoni was in anything else. I've never heard of him before, honestly. This is the first time I've ever heard about him. The hate went away so fast though. There's definitely it was I felt like it lingered in terms of there weren't new content generating that was trending about Blake Lively, but I think it lingered in terms of her reputation, her people's outlook on her was pretty fucking damaged. Okay, so astroturfing, learning new stuff. 11, on August 2nd, 2024, TAG circulated a scenario planning document to Mr. Baldoni. Oh, here comes the text messages. Mr. Heath and others would describe preparations and strategy should Miss Lively and her team make her grievances public. I mean, honestly, I don't know why, if Blake Lively hadn't said shit for almost a year, I don't know why they think she was planning to. Let's say that during this time, the news was saying that it's weird that Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni aren't seen together. But a lot of the negative press was really on Justin Baldoni. It was just he was making people feel uncomfortable, or he was fat shaming her, blah, blah, blah. I felt like she wouldn't really have an incentive to dogpile on Justin Baldoni at the time and be like, oh, by the way, the reason why we don't like him is because of this and this and this, right? I just felt like it wouldn't really, I don't know. I know they were trying to get ahead of it, but why not just wait until I don't know. I just felt like at the time, the narrative was more bad on Justin Baldoni, but it wasn't bad to the point where people were really cared, I would say, where people really stuck. It was just oh, okay, that could have happened behind the scene. I don't know. But then again, I don't follow Book Talk. I'm not on TikTok. So I don't know, maybe on TikTok, maybe it was really bad. Possibly. Speculation could be fun sometimes in social media. All right, so to get ahead of this, Miss Nathan's plan proposed strategies to advance misleading counter narratives, including pushing Nathan's narrative that Miss Lively had a less than favorable reputation, proposing to explore planting stories about the weaponization of feminism, and misleadingly blaming Miss Lively for production members' job loss. All right, so this is a text message from Justin Baldoni. to, who is this now? To Miss Nathan, the one that they hired, right? Miss Nathan, Melissa Nathan. Okay, she's the crisis specialist. So again, we're like, how do we have her text messages? Is she turned against Justin? No. Her employer, this is an employee phone, by the way. Her employer took the phone back and saw all this, and that's where we're getting it. Justin Baldoni writes, morning, not in love with the document they sent. Not sure I'm feeling the protection I felt on the call. She writes back, this is the first time I'm personally gone through scenario planning with them, so I think let's let them discuss the thinking behind the document and the actual process and protocol of how they implement these things. That's the most important part of how this quickly can shut things down and place stories in your favor. Be honest on this call and let's give real feedback to each point. Justin writes back, yeah, just feels very much like there's not much defense, and also give them feeling strong like she's going to do something just a bit concerning what everyone had originally thought. Number 12. Initially, Mr. Baldoni expressed concerns that Tag's written plan was insufficiently aggressive to protect him. Writing to Mr. Heath and Ms. Abel, he said he was not in love with the document they sent, not sure of feeling protection I felt on this call with Miss Nathan and her colleagues. In response, Mr. Heath attempted to reassure. Oh, this is with Mr. Heath? Oh, sorry, this is Mr. Heath. Mr. Heath. Who the fuck was Mr. Heath again? Mr. Heath. Who was Mr. Heath? I don't remember who Mr. Heath was. Oh, is Mr. Heath the one that was the other specialist? Where the fuck is Mr. Heath? I know Miss Nathan. Oh, I think Mr. Heath and Abel. Oh gosh, it's so confusing. Wait, this is Mr. Heath's from Mr. Heath's phone. Wait, how did we get this screenshot then? Okay. In Mr. Heath's word, the most important part of this is how quickly they can shut things down and place stories in your favor. 13. Later that day, Miss Abel, Miss Nathan exchanged the following text messages expressing that Mr. Baldoni wants to feel like Miss Lively can't be buried. Miss Abel and Miss Nathan agreed that, of course, they would do just that, but could not say so in writing. Quotations. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. Imagine if a document saying all these things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Yeah, like these text messages, huh? Here's a text message from Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan. You can, of course, do that, but I think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something he's texting me and Jamie on the side, just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough and show the strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried, ... This is back in February. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel. Of course, but when we could send over the documents, we can't send over the work. Of course, but when we send over documents, we can send over the work. We will or could do, because that could get us in a lot of trouble. We can't send over the work that we will or could do, because that can get us in a lot of trouble. Sorry, the reading that is like kind of ugh. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. We will go to this. We will do this. We will do this. We will do this. Oh, God. These messages are a little cringe. From Melissa to Jennifer. He has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all the things he wants ends up in the wrong hands. 14. Miss Nathan followed this by assuring Miss Abel, we can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him. Here's a text message from Melissa to Jennifer. We can't bury anyone, but I can't write that to him. I will. I'll be very tough. A few days later, on August 5th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni set the narrative for the social media campaign, sending Ms. Abel a screenshot of a thread on X that had accused another female celebrity of bullying women. Hailey Bieber, also another very hated person as well. Mr. Baldoni stated, this is what we would need. Okay, so this is from Justin Baldoni. The top here says step back. That's excellent. We have a screenshot here of Hailey Bieber. What does it say? Something Bieber's history of bullying many women, not just Selena Gomez, throughout the years. He writes, "This is what we would need." They write back, "Yes, I literally just spoke to Melissa about this on break, about what we discussed last night for social and digital. Focus on Reddit, TikTok, Instagram." Miss Abel responded that she had just spoken to Melissa about it, basically the text message. 17, in the weeks and months that followed, with the direction and approval of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni, the team engaged in sophisticated, coordinated, and well-financed retaliation plan. 18, the retaliation campaign relied on more than just publicists and crisis managers spinning story. They also retained subcontractors, including a Texas-based contractor named Jed Wallace, who weaponized a digital army around the country from New York to Los Angeles to create, seed, promote content that appeared to be authentic on social media platforms and internet chat forums. The Baldoni Wayfair team would then feed pieces of this manufactured content to unwitting reporters, making content go viral in order to influence public opinion and thereby cause an organic pile on. To safeguard against the risk of Ms. Lively ever revealing the truth about Mr. Baldoni, the Baldoni Wayfair team created, planted, amplified, and boosted content designed to eviscerate Ms. Lively's credibility. They engage in the same techniques to bolster Mr. Baldoni's credibility and suppress any negative content about him. 19. August 10, the day after the release of the film, Miss Nathan's team reported that they had started to see a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative against Miss Lively. So here are the headlines that I was talking about before the Blake Lively image literally tanked. So this is on August 8th. Did Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni have a rift over It Ends With Us? Sleuthing TikTokers think so. Rumors begin to swirl after Baldoni's notable absence from the film's joint press event, lack of group cast photos at the New York premiere, and the fact that Lively doesn't follow Baldoni on Instagram. Sources tell Hollywood Reporter that there was a fracture among the filmmakers in the post-production process, wherein two different cuts of the movie emerge. The It Ends With Us sleuthing on TikTok stemmed from Baldoni's notable absence from joint press events, the lack of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together at New York's premiere, the fact that neither Lively, Colin Hoover, the author, nor the rest of the cast follow Baldoni on Instagram, though he follows them. This raised eyebrows as during the development of the movie, Hoover and Baldoni appeared together on each other's Instagrams multiple times. Social media users also speculating that Lively brought in her husband, Ryan Reynolds, to help take control of the film. This theory was stoked when Lively revealed at the film's world premiere that Reynolds wrote a key rooftop scene towards the beginning of the movie. She says, "We help each other. He works on everything I do. I work on everything he does. So he wins. His celebrations are mine and mine are his." The film has a script from Christy Hall. Now, we're getting stories. We're getting lots of speculations. And this is August 8, okay? August 8. August 9, truth behind It Ends With Us feud. Rumors. Justin Baldoni made Blake Lively uncomfortable, sources said. Blake and Justin clashed on the set with It Ends With Us, with multiple sources telling Page Six he made her feel uncomfortable. The pair star in the much-anticipated big screen version of Colin Hoover's hit novel about toxic and abusive romance. But rumors have swirled this week as the two seem to avoid each other at the movie's Manhattan premiere. One industry source claimed that Baldoni, who also directed the movie, created an extremely difficult atmosphere behind the scenes for the entire cast. So we see is this like the red carpet thing, pink carpet thing? We have the cast members. There's Ryan Reynolds. It's like, wait, who is this actually? Lively, Ryan Reynolds. Oh, that's his girlfriend. I was like, wait, I don't remember seeing her in the movie. Okay, that's not. So that's a cast member, Blake Lively right there. Another industry insider said there was a few moments on the set that made Lively, who was a producer on the film, feel uncomfortable about her postpartum body. Here's Justin Baldoni with his wife. As photos leaked at the start of the production, fans called out Lively's frumpy costumes of her character, Lily Bloom, prompting Lively to delve into her own wardrobe for some of her looks, borrowing clothes from BFF Gigi Hadid and Ryan Reynolds. Sources who worked with Baldoni were quick to say that Father of Two would never intentionally set out to make any of the actors feel unsupported. It's not just Blake, added the industry source. None of the cast enjoyed working with Justin. They certainly didn't talk to him at the premiere. So this is again just before all the shit went down. Oh yeah, this is what also about Baldoni's religion. Okay, Wayfarer stands for the journey for the soul. It's named after the Wayfarer in the book called The Seven Valleys and the Four Valleys, which comes from the Baha'i faith. I don't know how to pronounce that. So again, remember in the complaint, Blake Lively was saying how Justin Baldoni was trying to speak with her undead dad or something, or mentioned talking about that and pressing her about religion. Now we're on August 9. It ends with us. Justin Baldoni says co-star Blake Lively should direct the sequel. Again, I feel like this was like an underhanded comment because if people already have a perception that Blake Lively is the type of bully or mean girl that uses her husband, brings him in because he's, he's Ryan Reynolds, A-star celebrity, Deadpool guy, uses her husband and either to get what she wants, right? So that was like the story that was like sort of like floating out there. And then we have this interview with Justin Baldoni where they're asking like, oh, hey, Colleen Hoover, the author, made a sequel to the book. Are you going to be directing it? And so he says, I think there are better people for that one. I think Blake Lively is ready to direct. That's what I think. So that could be seen as like, okay, he thinks that Blake Lively, is good enough that maybe she should direct. Or maybe it's like, well, she tried to take control of my projects. And since she was trying to do that, she must be good enough to direct. So let her direct her own movie then. I think it's possible that could have been an underhanded comment. Now we're in, same thing, August 9. Exclusive, disturbing truth behind why Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us stars are feuding with Justin Baldoni. So, the headlines are getting worse and worse. Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set with It Ends With Us and sparked fury over his refusal to reconsider the perspective of co-star Blake Lively. Rumors of a vicious feud between Justin 40, Blake 36 have been swirling for weeks, with online sleuths highlighting how the on-scene love interests were not pictured together at the premiere. Some cast members have blatantly swerved questions about the director. Insiders revealed concerning truth about tensions that Blake and Justin clash over his dismissive attitude to her input while they're filming scenes that involve abuse. The movie, which hits theaters today, is based off Colleen Hoover's book, blah, blah, blah. Insider claimed that Justin only focused on what he believed was the abusive male viewpoint and had a very chauvinistic approach to the topic. During scenes depicting abuse, Justin failed to consider Blake's character perspective, instead focusing solely on what he believed was the abusive male viewpoint. His approach was also very chauvinistic, creating a tense atmosphere on the set. The source claimed Justin was borderline abusive on the set and that he was almost became the character. So seems to be a little bit different than what we are hearing in the complaint, but maybe they could be very similar. Maybe at some point he had a very abusive attitude when he wasn't getting what he wanted, or maybe people were complaining about him. I don't know. But in the complaint, it seems like a lot of it was mostly sexual harassment stuff. But again, no mention of sexual harassment. The weight thing is there. Him being hard to work with, that's there. Again, this is Friday, August 9. It Ends With Us. Actor Justin Baldoni praises co-star Blake Lively amid feud rumors. So it's like, there's rumors that they're fighting, but he's praising her. He's saying that some good stuff about her. Let's see what he says. He says, I think she's best known as an actress, and of course she's a fashion icon, but she's so much more than that. She's dynamic, creative. She had her hands in every part of this production, and everything she touched made better. So we're getting some compliments there. But behind the scene, he's trying to bury her, he's trying to destroy her. Ooh, hoo, hoo. Not a good look. August 9, Justin Baldoni says Blake Lively should direct It Ends With a sequel amid cast drama rumors, which I already went over. August 9, It Ends With the director Justin Baldoni says Blake Lively should direct. I think the same thing. This is, okay, we're not here yet. All right. So everything that's leading up to August, 7, 8, 9, everything before that, it's there might be some, a rift between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, the cast members, and Colleen Hoover and Justin Baldoni. And then all of a sudden on the internet, on August 10, I think this was August 10, this drops, right? People are like, holy fucking shit. She is a fucking bully. It must be right. It must be that she was trying to take over Justin Baldoni's project, And when she couldn't get it her way, she got Ryan Reynolds to come in and assert her, other influence on Justin Baldoni, and then essentially cast him out and made him the pariah in the group, right? So a lot of people were like, "Whoa, okay, things are starting to make sense." And like I said, this interview, it was a really bad interview. When I watched it, and I watched it again today, actually, I was like, "Man, it's just a fucking bizarre interview." I'm so very confused. I don't know if Blake Lively was just having a really bad day. I don't know if she generally is rude like this. I don't know if she didn't know that she was being rude. I don't know if she was offended. I don't know if something happened beforehand, like right before when she was about to sit down and do this interview. I don't know. There's beef between her and the reporter. I don't know what's going on. But we've only heard from the reporter's side so far. Everything that she said that she was very confused as well. And she made an innocuous comment. And she doesn't know why Blake Lively and this other co-star acted that way. So we got to see the whole interview uncut. And yeah, it was a very bizarre fucking interview. I don't know. A lot of things go through my mind when I see someone in their rude moment. I try to assume people aren't just like generally like a bad piece of shit person, but sometimes they are. Sometimes they are. But with Blake Lively, I still had a lot of questions. I wasn't ready to like just dismiss her just yet, but I would always notate that, yeah, okay, this is a really bad interview that Blake gave. And so this interview came out, and that is when it completely turned the tides for her. Like, people were dogpiling on Blake Lively. And it wasn't just this, it was other behaviors that people didn't like about Blake Lively. They were like, oh, she's being a mean girl in like this interview, or she was rolling her eyes in this interview. To me, I didn't think a lot of it was like really much of a big deal. I was just like, like to me, I don't know, not a huge deal, to be very honest. But this one was definitely the big one in my opinion. And from then on, her fucking reputation just fucking tanked. People were posting about her. People were just ganging up on her. She had to go on her Instagram. She had to limit the comments on there. It's like private, but you can still see what she's posting. There was a lot of hate towards her. And then not only that, people did not like the way that she was promoting the film. And she didn't like the way that she was promoting the film, and people were like, oh, Justin Baldoni's like the only one that is talking about domestic violence, and like it really made Justin Baldoni like the good guy. All right, back here. August 10. The day after release of the film, Miss Nathan's team reported that they start to see a shift on social, largely due to Jed and his team's effort to shift the narrative against Miss Lively. And again, people are accusing Kirsty of working with the Justin Baldoni team and purposely releasing this to tank Blake Lively's career. She has said that she didn't do that. She said that she was talking to another interviewer, and then I think she said she was talking to another reporter, and it had just came up with Blake Lively, and then she just wanted to share experience. So to her, she said it was completely coincidental. But I can see why people think that she was aligning with Justin Baldoni, because the timing of it was just right around when they were trying to really shift the narrative in Justin's what's it called? In how the public viewed Justin Baldoni. But for me, it's like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm not ready to like jump on like, any train yet, or jump on any like, I'm not ready to be like super sure about something when I'm not, So I've seen her other videos. I've watched a bunch of other ones, and to me, she does seem genuine. But like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, you never know anyone, you're not sure, but she seems genuine to me. That's my thought on it. This is we're not there yet. Okay. So back to the text messages. You think she was being opportunistic, riding the Blake hate wave, not necessarily part of the Justin PR? I don't think there was a Blake hate wave during that time, though. I don't think the hate wave really started after that video was posted. Was there a hate wave before that? I could be wrong, though. I think I could be wrong. I thought it was mostly negativity towards Justin, although I didn't think people really... It was just like, oh, maybe there's hate, but I don't think people really was hating on Justin. It was like ready to cancel Justin for that. To me, it seemed like there was just like rumors about Justin, and I don't think anyone was hating on Blake yet. I think the hate on Blake came after the video was posted. But I don't know. Maybe it's possible that the reason why that video came out when it did, maybe because, Blake Lively, maybe her name was just in the news recently. She was like, oh yeah, I forgot we had this Blake Lively interview that I did 8 years ago. Oh, fuck her. I'm going to post this, That's also possible as well. I don't know. I tend not to jump on the gun on someone being super malicious until we have a good amount of evidence about it. Or there's a lot of context surrounding it. But I will acknowledge that the timing of it was just, very interesting, but it could be a coincidence. the way that she was doing the press, the tone deaf, the hair care. I think that came afterwards, though. I think that came afterwards. But I guess I can search on the internet. No, I feel like it came afterwards. Maybe we can browse. Maybe I can browse on TikTok or something and find an account that has been covering it extensively, and then see when they start posting about all the media stuff that was happening with Blake Lively. Because I feel like it came afterwards. But you could be right. I could be wrong. I think it's telling that most of the complaint is about just Baldoni straying away from the marketing plan, and only like 5 pages and 80 pages about the SH. Most of the complaint is about Baldoni staying away from the marketing. The marketing plan was only like 1 page. Maybe we'll get to the rest of it. I only saw 1 page about the marketing plan. The rest is about engaging in trying to destroy Blake Lively's credibility, I guess, and burying her. Let me read the rest. Let's see. On August 10th, the day after the release of the film, Miss Nathan's team reported that they had started to see a shift on social, largely due to Jed and his team's effort to shift the narrative against Miss Lively. Hi, team. So far, so this is to Jennifer Abel. So far, extremely limited pickup on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed. But so far, it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. Again, like I said, we were seeing stuff about, like rumors with the cast and crew members, but I don't think it was anything that anyone was ready to cancel anyone for or to really pick up on. Like, people were just like, oh, maybe this is happening. Who knows? We've also seen a shift in social, largely due to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Again, we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. 20. That same day, Miss Nathan noted that as a part of this shift, the majority of socials are pro Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them. LOL. God, these people. I think I have a picture of Jennifer Abel and Melissa Nathan. To me, they look young. But I don't know if this is just an old picture of them. It could be an old picture of them. This is Melissa Nathan. And this is Jennifer Abel. They look young to me. When I read these text messages, I'm thinking you're someone in your like early or mid 20s. And you kind of sound, a little immature. I don't know. All right, so from Melissa to Jennifer, the majority of socials are pro Justin, and I don't agree with half of them. LOL. 21. Miss Nathan then bragged to Miss Ethel that Mr. Baldoni doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. So let's read these text messages. From Melissa to Jennifer. He doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him on just how fucking lucky. From Melissa to Jennifer Abel. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations, like Jesus fucking Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, this is just so much. Kind of weird. 22. Less than a week later, they again bragged about how they had shut down stories regarding HR complaints on the set. On August 15, 2024, Melissa Nathan remarked, "This went so well. It was genius." So, okay, we have 4 major standing on HR complaint. I forgot. I should just read the text messages instead of just reading it through here. All right, so from Melissa to Jennifer. Jen, this went so well. I am fucking dying. I have to call you later in a bit and tell you how this went. It was genius. Again, screaming like mid to early 20s. Late 20s maybe. From Melissa to Jennifer. So, okay, we have 4 major standing downs on HR complaints. I think we are fine on that bit. Hello, Turbo. 23. On August 16, Miss Nathan circulated a Daily Mail article titled String of Hard Videos That Have Surfaced Following Tone Deaf Q&A. Oh, wait, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. This is August. Oh, no, this is August 16. This is after August 10. Never mind. I was about to say, Rain, you're right. Maybe you're not. Okay, so August 16. So this is 6 days after the interview with Kirsty was posted. All right. A string of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following the Tone Deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish 36-year-old golden Hollywood image for good, to which Ms. Abel responded. I'll read the text message ourselves. So again, this is on August 16, 2016. We have a link here from Melissa to Jennifer. Jennifer writes to Melissa, wow. Jennifer writes again, you really outdid yourself with this piece. Melissa writes to Jennifer, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Jesus. 24, as their own words reveal, the purpose of the social manipulation plan was twofold. It aimed to both A, conceal the pattern of harassment and other misconduct by Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfair, and retaliate against Miss Lively by battering her image, harming her businesses, causing her and her family severe emotional harm. Millions of people, including many reporters and influencers, saw the planted stories, social media posts, and other online content, had no idea they were unwitting consumers of a crisis PR, astroturfing, and digital retaliation campaign created and funded by Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair to hurt Miss Lively. That is precisely the goal of an astroturfing campaign, to light the fire and continue to stoke conversation secretly, blurring the lines between authentic and manufactured content, and creating viral public takedowns. The Variety article on Blake's team obtained the text also shows New York Times collaborated with the Blake's team. This is just PR word. No one's innocent. Variety article. Can you link it for me? I don't know if I have that. Let's see. When was that posted? Or do you know the title? Variety article. Blake Lively. Text. But are they this bad though? Are they this bad? Text messages. New York Times. Let's see. On Variety? Why is the font size so big? We have like screenshots of the text messages, or is it a article that references the text messages? I'm trying to find screenshots here. Can you let me know what's the name of that article, Gwen? They were friends with a Daily News reporter. I have to say that Blake and Justin are decent actors. I just watched the movie today, and it was difficult to tell that they hate one another. Hi, Mackenzie. How are you doing today? What are your thoughts on the movie? Did you read the book too? Number 25, as laid on this complaint, the Baldoni Wayfair-led public attack of Miss Lively was the intended result of a carefully crafted, coordinated, and resourced retaliatory scheme. I think I read this right? To silence her and others from speaking out from the hostile environment that Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath created. No, I didn't. As such, it is not only unconscionable and a breach of contract, it is also illegal under both state and federal law. Miss Lively brings this action to hold Wayfair and its leaders, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Mr. Sarowitz, accountable for the ongoing retaliation, threats, and harm they have caused Miss Lively, other cast and crew, and their families. All right, now we're going to get into the factual background. Carolina, hello, how are you doing today? How's it going? Yes, this is just a complaint filed with the Civil Rights Department in California. This is not the lawsuit. A. Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath of Wayfair engaged in inappropriate and unwelcome behavior towards Miss Lively and others on the set of It Ends With Us. Mr. Baldoni launched Wayfair Studios along with Mr. Sarowitz in 2020. Mr. Heath serves as the Wayfair CEO. Sarowitz is a leading financier of Wayfair. He, Mr. Heath, Baldoni are all close friends. Under the Wayfair banner, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath have many platforms, including the Man Enough podcast, which they host. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath have positioned Wayfair as a male feminist platform that explores gender roles, dismantles toxic masculinity, and creates a safer and judge-free society for women. Interesting, given his background. Very interesting. 27. Mr. Baldoni serves not only as the CEO and co-chairman of the studio that financed and ran production on It Ends With Us, he also served as a director, executive producer, and co-lead actor playing the role of Ryle Kincaid. As studio head and director, all actors, crew, staff on the film, including Miss Lively, answered to Mr. Baldoni. In his words, he was the leader who sat at the top of the totem pole. While Sony was the distributor releasing the film, Wayfair was responsible for the production, and Wayfair was led by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath. Hey, Brian, how are you doing today? How's it going? Hello, hello. Dominique, I hope you're having a good day. Production of the film began in early May 2023 and lasted until it was suspended in mid-June 2023 due to the Writers Guild of America strike. During that time, Miss Lively and other cast and crew experienced invasive, unwelcome, unprofessional, sexually inappropriate behavior by Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath because Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath held all leadership positions on the production. They answered to no one and brushed off or ignored concerns Miss Lively and others expressed. Do you guys know Wayfair Productions, if they were working on any of their movies or anything like that? Man, this coffee's like crack. What kind of coffee you got over there? I think it'll become a lawsuit if it happens to the crew and others actors. They should also do one. 30, Wayfair failed to adhere to guild rules as well as Miss Lively's contract and standard industry safety protocols with respect to nudity and intimate scenes, which the SAG and the SAG-AFTRA acknowledges place performers in uniquely vulnerable situations. Such safeguards ignored by Wayfair include providing performers with appropriate notice of nudity and simulated sex, ensuring that one, consent is given free of pressure or coercion. 2, signed nudity riders are in place, spelling out the parameters of nudity or simulated sex scenes. 3, safe and secure working conditions that are not detrimental to a performer's health, safety, morals, and career. 4, the use of intimacy coordinators to observe intimate scenes. Without these protections in place, Mr. Baldoni improvised physical intimacy that had not been rehearsed, choreographed, or discussed with Ms. Lively. With no intimacy coordinator involved, for instance, Mr. Baldoni discreetly bit and sucked on Ms. Lively's lower lip during a scene in which he improvised numerous kisses on each take. Mr. Baldoni insisted on shooting the full scene over and over again and full beyond what would have been required on an ordinary set and without advance notice or consent. You know, I always thought about that too. When they're filming these intimate scenes, are they supposed to be upfront with what's going to happen, what they're going to do, or is there a lot of improvising happening amongst actors? You know what's interesting is that there was an interview that Justin Baldoni did. And I think did I exit it out? Shoot, I think I did. Justin Baldoni did an interview where he talked about, I might have exited out, where it seems like he knew what he may have potentially will be accused of. So he kind of got ahead of it. And he was just like, yeah, you know, we made sure we had like intimacy coordinators so people were comfortable. I think I had the interview up, but then I might have closed it. Or is it this one? This one? Maybe it was this one. Oh, I think it was this one. Yes. So this is an interview that was posted. I don't know when the interview happened, but it was posted on August 7, 2024. Again, this is before Blake Lively's demise on August 10. And then crash and burn with her interview that she did eight years before. When Justin Baldoni first read Colin Hoover's future bestseller Ends With Us back in 2019, he knew the story was something special. This is what he writes or says. I was just starting Wayfair Studios and looking for a very specific type of film, something that could have potential to be extremely commercial, yet at the same time have potential to impact and inspire real changes. My book agent at the time sent it to me and said, this might be unexpected, but just read it. This book is very special. With no backstory of what it was about, I started reading it. I remember being drawn by the rooftop scene, having no idea where it was going, and falling in love with Lily and Ryle. By the end of the book, I was sobbing. I was so moved. I knew this is exactly the type of film we were looking for. So this is like a Q&A that they do with Justin Baldoni. You mentioned Blake Lively. Can you talk about your collaboration? Once Blake signed on to the film, she was involved in all areas of production. She is an all-encompassing creative who makes everything she touches better. To be in the scene with somebody so creative who understands all sides of production and to see how her response would change if I took the character too far in one direction helped me know when to adjust as an actor and as a director. She was very in tune with the nuances of this performance for both of us, and I'm so grateful for all that she did to make this movie as beautiful as it is. I believe she gave the performance of a lifetime, and I can't wait for the people to see how great she is in this film. How did you navigate directing and acting at the same time? JB. So much of it is preparation. I did so much work on the emotional life of the character so that it was time to step in front of the camera. I could let go and embody him without thought. I had an incredible acting coach. We spent a lot of time working on Ryle's physicality and emotional state. I did everything I could to prepare while I was prepping the actual film so that Ryle could live in my body. So when the time came to shoot, I would set up a scene, block it, then let it go, allowing Ryle to come in whatever way he needed to. All right, this is the part right here. How did you approach and navigate the more intense scenes? I imagine you need an intimacy coordinator and a fight or a stunt coordinator. This is what he says. We knew from the very beginning that there's no way we could do this movie without intimacy coordinators. However, the film called for two different people, an intimacy coordinator and a stunt coordinator, because there are moments in this film where the two things are happening at once. We end up having a wonderful collaborative relationship between the intimacy coordinator and the fight choreographer. We had Lizzie Talbot and Chelsea Carey as our intimacy coordinators, and we ended up bringing in a revered stunt coordinator, Laura Shaw, who also happened to be a dear friend of mine for all who work that involve a mix of intimacy and stunts. It was so important to have them on the set, not just so that we could all feel safe, but because they were also incredible collaborators with wonderful ideas that really elevated the film. When you shoot the film like this, as an actor, all this tension lives in your body. There were times when I had to literally leave the set for a second before the next setup to shake it off or release it as best as I could. Having them on set and always in my island was invaluable because at any point I could look to one of them for a thumbs up, or we worked together on another approach together. Or we worked on another approach together. They were such important and integral part of our process. I think that's about, that's what I wanted to say. That's it, right? Okay. So he talks about the intimacy coordinators, how they were on the set. There was like 2 or 3 of them that were on the set. He wanted to make sure everyone felt safe and comfortable. Now, I don't know if he was just trying to prime people just in case if there's any sexual harassment stuff coming up against him, or if that was just a way that it happened. You did. Okay, cool. Thank you so much. I will definitely take a look at it. Here it is. Why is this font so fucking big? Do we see text messages, like screenshots? Yeah. Do we see screenshots of text messages? Or not yet? Hi, Melissa. When were they hired? Let's find out. Maybe we'll find out in here. Your dad got me this. Oh, it's a coffee from Vietnam for Christmas. Oh, are you getting the jitters? Are you getting the jitters? Hi, Christine. How are you doing today? Hi, Corgi. Just got home and saw you're on. This is an interesting case. I wonder why she didn't stop filming and file charges during this. That's not the first time I've heard that. So Christine was like, why did she not stop filming and file charges during this? With like, it's tough with like sexual harassment. If you think you're being generally sexually harassed, sometimes you talk yourself out of it. Sometimes you tell yourself it wasn't a big deal. Sometimes you tell yourself that you're overreacting. I'm not speaking for her, but I can totally see someone. Let's say this was happening on the set and, you know, it was like slowly getting bad. When it first happens, usually you're kind of like, that was kind of weird, but maybe they didn't mean anything about that. When it happens the second time, it's like, that happened twice now. Was it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. And then it happens again and again and again. And at some point, you're just like, you're trying to talk yourself out of it because you don't want to make a big deal out of something. You don't want to create a spotlight on yourself. It's possible that, and many times when this happened to Blake Lively or other people, maybe they just talked themselves out of it. Maybe they didn't want to make a big deal out of it. And then in terms of like, why didn't she just like stop and just like quit the film? Maybe she bonded with Colleen Hoover. Maybe she bonded with the cast and crew members. Maybe she didn't want to be a disappointment. Maybe she didn't want to be seen as someone who's difficult to work with. Maybe she was attached to the movie. You know, maybe she just didn't want to let people down. You know, these are a lot of people's jobs that were, you know, like how long would it take for them to find a new lead cast female to fill in the role, right? Or maybe she wanted to make sure that like, hey, if I left, maybe the people won't feel like they're protective. So maybe she thought she had enough, you know, I mean, she is a pretty big star. Her husband's a pretty big star. So maybe she thought that she could protect everyone and herself by having this, whatever it was the meeting that they had. So I don't know. I'm not, like I said, I'm not Blake Lively. I know some people might have doubts about her claims on this, but I think this is something where you can have a lot of witnesses that can back up your claim. Or you can have a lot of people that are saying, hey, you know what? She's lying. That's not true. That didn't happen. But the fact that she came out with this complaint and the cast members are seeming to support her, and it's possible that there's a lot of witnesses. I don't know. It just seems really, it would be a Hail fucking Mary if you filed this complaint and it was all bullshit. It just wouldn't make sense. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm always willing to listen and wait until more comes out about this. Because, you know, I'm not just going to write off Justin Baldoni because we have one side of the story, right? We still got to wait and hear from him. But like I'm saying, it's sometimes when this happens, it's not one of those things where it's like, holy fucking shit, I'm getting myself out of the situation right away. Fuck this shit, I'm leaving, right? Usually you try to like reconcile it. Usually you try to talk yourself out of it. So I can totally see that happening. But I don't know. That's what I think. You can't just stop when you have a contract. You'll get sued. Hey, Bell Moon, how are you doing today? How's it going? No screenshots, but the details, the sketchy ways Blake's team obtained the text messages. Blake started this as soon as she got the backlash, being a cad. Being a what? Being a what now? They held a meeting for her to come back to the film with a list of demands. So it's in the complaints. It's easy to say, oh, just quit. But does everyone quit their job over things? Right. Because I remember like a lot of times where I would deal with someone that was very aggressive and persistent, right? In just like harassing. And it's like not just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna quit my job, you know? It's like it's harder than that because it's like, well, I have to like, oh god, it's like annoying. It's like, well, one, you know, if you want to, you could deal with HR, you can deal with the bosses. Like some people just don't want to go through that. Some people just like put up with it. So I can totally see why she may have not wanted to just quit in the middle, or maybe like, you know, just like stop what she was doing. It's like, okay, well, let me you know, let me get law enforcement in on this and stuff like that. You know, it's possible that she just all she wanted, it seems, was just changing the workplace environment. And I don't know if that happened afterwards. Maybe did, maybe didn't. Oh, a cad means an idiot. Oh, I've never heard that before. What country are you from? A cad. Never heard of that. She was under a contract from Sony, who told them to promote the film the way she did. Wasn't her idea. Again, it's in the complaint. Yeah, we talked about that earlier. How is it sneaky? It says that she subpoenaed the tax. Even if they got it from an ex-employee, it's a subpoena. And if they go in the lawsuit, it would make her liable for the perjury as it falls. Yeah, from my understanding, it was subpoenaed and those text messages were turned over. Now, whether or not the person, was it Stephanie Jones? Whether or not Stephanie Jones wanted to fight that subpoena or just give it up, maybe that part you can think maybe it's weird. But I think at this point, Stephanie Jones was probably just like, fuck it, just have the text messages. So I don't know. I don't know if it's like weird or odd, but I haven't read the Variety article yet. It's a big opportunity and she hasn't been in anything for a while. Yes, I do agree with that. Because I remember when I heard about this movie, I was like, oh, I haven't seen Blake in like shit. Like I completely forgot about her. So I was pretty interested when this when they were talking about this movie. Because, you know, I was down to see another Blake Lively movie. Why not? He had a public relations manager and breached that contract to use his other company. It is Stephanie Jones, right? Okay, I just want to make sure I have the name right. Let's go back to this. On another occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character as himself. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down her neck as he said, "It smells good." Wait, what? Hold on a second. On one occasion, Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively were filming a slow dance scene for a montage in which no sound was recorded. Okay. Mr. Baldoni chose to let the camera roll and have them perform the scene, but did not act in character as Ryle. Instead, he spoke to Miss Lively out of character as himself. I guess like maybe okay. I'm just being impatient. At one point, he leaned forward and slowly dragged his lips from her ear and down to her neck as he said, "It smells so good." None of this was remotely in character or based on any dialogue in the script, and nothing needed to be said because again, there was no sound. Mr. Baldoni was caressing Miss Lively with his mouth in a way that had nothing to do with their roles. When Miss Lively later objected to this behavior, Mr. Baldoni's response was, "I'm not even attracted to you." Oh man. Definitely heard that before. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I guess my question that I had was, how did she know that he was out of character? What prompted her to believe that he was out of character before saying "it smells so good"? That's what I'm curious about. But man, this reminds me of like, I'm sure you guys have had it happen to you. You guys ever had someone that hit on you and then you reject them and then they're like, "Well, you're not even pretty anyways. I don't even like you. I'm not even attracted to you. I don't even think you're hot. You're ugly anyways," you know? All right, B, Mr. Baldoni inserted improvised, gratuitous sexual content and or scenes involving nudity in the film, including for an underage character in highly unsettling ways. After Ms. Lively signed onto the movie based on the draft of the script, Mr. Baldoni, without Ms. Lively's consent or knowledge, personally added graphic content, including a scene in which Ms. Lively was to orgasm on camera. I don't know if I remember. Do I remember an orgasm scene? I watched the movie, but I was multitasking. So I wasn't like watching the movie. Weirdo, what a sleazy guy. I mean, again, you know, we don't know if he really said that. We don't know if there are witnesses that heard him say that. But it could be a he said, she said scenario. But if it did happen, yeah. That is something that I can totally relate with because I definitely do see it. When the rejection happens, you know, it's like, well, I didn't even think you're hot anyways. You're fucking ugly. All right. 34. When Miss Lively objected to these additions, Mr. Baldoni insists that he added them because he was making the film through the female gaze. Although he agreed to remove the scenes, he made a last-ditch attempt to keep one in which the couple orgasmed together on their wedding night, which he said was important to him because he and his partner climaxed simultaneously during intercourse. Mr. Baldoni then intrusively asked Miss Lively whether she and her husband climaxed simultaneously during intercourse, which Miss Lively found invasive and refused to discuss. I wonder if Baldoni is just like a very open person and he forgets that there are people around him that aren't as open as he is. And then he'll like open his mouth and say something. And then it's just like a turn off for people. Jesus fucking Christ. It's like, hey, I orgasm with my significant other all the time. What about you? Do you guys orgasm together? It's like, if you're in a group of friends, sure, maybe, why not, push the line. But if you're amongst coworkers, like, I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. Okay. Was Blake a producer / director in this film or just Baldoni? My understanding, but I could be wrong because I think my information is not complete, but from what I've seen so far, it seems like she was hired as an actress. At the end, there was creative differences with how the ending would be cut. She had a different ending cut with another director, and then they went with her ending. And because of that, she was given producer credit. But I don't know if she was given producer credit beforehand, if she had producer input beforehand. From how I read the articles, it seems like she was given the producer credit because of that cut of the of how they did the ending. But that's all, I don't know. That's all I know. That's what I'm sharing with you. Blair Waldorf over Serena Vanderwoodson. Just saying. Blair Waldorf. Oh gosh. I mean, I only got to like season 2 and 3, and technically I cheated because after season 1, I only watched recaps of Gossip Girl because I just felt like I couldn't sit there and just watch the TV show. But I don't know. Blair was like fucking annoying. I don't know if I like Blair. I don't even know who I even liked in Gossip Girls. Who did you guys like in Gossip Girls? If you guys watch Gossip Girls, I don't know if I even like Blair. Serena was just there. There was Jenny. Maybe I like Jenny. I don't know. Jenny did get annoying at some point though, but I think Jenny would have had a really good redemption arc. Dan, fuck Dan. He's annoying. I don't know. Was there anyone good in Gossip Girl to root for? On the day of the shooting, the scene in which Miss Lively's character gives birth, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath suddenly pressured Miss Lively to simulate full nudity, despite no mention of nudity for this scene in the script or contract or in previous creative discussions. Mr. Baldoni insisted to Miss Lively that women give birth naked and that his wife had ripped her clothes off during labor. He claimed it was not normal for women to remain in their hospital gowns while giving birth. Miss Lively disagreed, but felt forced into a compromise that she would be naked from below the chest down. 36. When the birth scene was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded, and utterly lacking in standard industry productions for filming such nude scenes, such as choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity writer, or simply turning off the monitor so the scene was not broadcast to all crew on set and on their personal phones and iPads. Yikes. Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni also failed to close the set. I just want to know, what other movies and films did he direct? Because he created this media company in like 2020. I just wonder if he just didn't have experience in like filming, or if he didn't hire the right teams that could assist, or maybe they didn't want to step in and be like, hey, usually for nudity scenes, it's probably best that we turn off the monitors, blah, blah, blah. Like, I just wonder if it was just chaotic because maybe it's like his first rodeo or something. I just want to know. Blair had more personality than Serena. My personal favorite was Serena's mom. She was the real fashion show of the... Oh, wait, Serena's mom. Serena's mom. Okay, I do remember Serena's mom. Yes. Blake was in Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. I haven't seen that movie yet. I heard it was good, but I haven't seen it yet. Maybe we'll check it out. Blair knew Skew was evil. I appreciate that. Who is Skew? The producer Heath was showing videos of his wife in labor to Blake and saying women should be nude when giving birth. Hello, Tear Dad. Hi, Tear Dad. How are you doing today? We are almost there. Almost there. Hello, Omni. How are you doing today? How's it going? When the birth scene was filmed, it was chaotic, blah, 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 blah. Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni also failed to close the set, allowing non-essential crew to pass through while Miss Lively was mostly nude, with her legs spread wide in stirrups and only a small piece of fabric covering her genitalia. Among the non-essential persons present that day was Wayfair co-chairman Mr. Sarowitz, who flew in for one of his few set visits. Ms. Lively was not provided with anything to cover herself with between takes until after she made multiple requests. Ms. Lively became even more alarmed when Mr. Baldoni introduced his best friend to play the role of the OBGYN, when ordinarily a small role of this nature would be filled by a local actor. Ms. Lively felt the selection of Mr. Baldoni's friend for this intimate role, in which the actor's face and hands were in close proximity to her nearly nude genitalia for a birth scene, was invasive and humiliating. It says generally, nudity below the waist in film utilizes a small piece of nude fabric glued around the female actor's genitalia to provide some minimal privacy without disturbing the shot, because the fabric is not able to have visible straps from profile camera angles. 37. To add insult to injury, Mr. Heath approached Ms. Lively and her assistant on set and started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. Ms. Lively thought he was showing her pornography and stopped him. Mr. Heath explained the video was his wife giving birth. Ms. Lively was alarmed and asked Mr. Heath if he knew his wife was sharing the video, to which he replied, "She isn't worried about this stuff," as if Ms. Lively was weird for not welcoming it. Ms. Lively and her assistant excused themselves, stunned that Mr. Heath had showed them a nude video. 38. Mr. Baldoni added a detailed scene to the film in which the underage version of Ms. Lively's character, Lily, loses her virginity. In both the book and the script of the film, there was no sex scene. Instead, the details of this moment were left to the audience's imagination. But Mr. Baldoni added in considerable details, including both dialogue between young Lily and her boyfriend Atlas about the loss of her virginity, as well as a simulated sex scene in which Mr. Baldoni filmed and included in his initial cut of the film a close-up of young Lily's face, accompanied by an audible gasp at the moment of penetration. Ms. Lively was informed that when the scene was shot, Mr. Baldoni called cut. He walked over to the actors and said, "I know I'm not supposed to say this, but that was hot." Did you practice this before? Oh gosh. I don't think I just feel like Justin Baldoni is just very open with, sex stuff, he's just very open about it, but very unaware of how it might be perceived to other people who are not close to him, Okay. This is getting so weird. It certainly is. Okay, so Blair knew that she was evil. She didn't pretend she was pure. Like that blonde. That's what I appreciated. That blonde isn't Serena. Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen Gossip Girl in a while. I'm just saying, I feel like there's no characters that I really like. Blair had more personality. I don't know. I just feel like all the characters in Gossip Girls were all just like meh to me. But again, I only got to like season 2 or season 3. And honestly, after season 1, it was just mostly just recaps of it. This dude is a total creep. I don't know. I'm like trying to think. Because you know how there are some people that will say things that are genuinely really fucking weird and like really creepy. But then you're like, I know they're not trying to be creepy. They're just unaware that they're creepy, but they're just fucking creepy. Oh, okay. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath discussed his personal sexual experiences and previous porn addiction and try to pressure Miss Lively to okay, no, it's getting really creepy. Okay. And try to pressure Miss Lively to review details about her intimate life. Okay. 39. During a car ride with Miss Lively, her assistant and driver, Mr. Baldoni claimed to Miss Lively that he had been sexually abused by a former girlfriend, which he shared publicly. At the end of the story, Mr. Baldoni shared that it had caused him to re-examine his past. He then said, "Did I always ask for consent? No. Did I always listen when they said no? No." Mr. Baldoni claimed this was an example of how we all have things from which we can learn and grow. Okay. Miss Lively was unsettled by Mr. Baldoni's suggestion that he had engaged in sexual conduct without consent. When Miss Lively exited the car, her driver immediately remarked that he did not want Miss Lively to be alone with Mr. Baldoni going forward. Okay, potential additional witnesses. I think they're just like, I think Justin Baldoni is like maybe a type of person who is very reflective and maybe honest about things, but maybe there are things that he just shouldn't say out loud to people that aren't close friends of his, because if you're not close to someone and they say that and you're just like, I'm not close with you, but you saying that, that's kind of yikes. That's a lot of information. I don't know. I like I said, maybe he's just a type of person who's just like super open about things, and he just want to be really open with Blake Lively. But then because Blake Lively is not close to him, it's like, dude, it's weird. Like, why are you telling me this? 40. On the first day of production, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath described their past sexual relationships to Ms. Blake Lively, including that one of them used to hook up with a woman. Mr. Baldoni said that he decided the woman wasn't the one, so when Mr. Heath had gotten together with her... Wait, sorry, let me read the whole thing. First day of production. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath described their past sexual relationships to Ms. Lively, including that one of them used to hook up with a woman. Mr. Baldoni said that he had decided the woman wasn't the one, so then Mr. Heath had gotten together with her. Ms. Lively found the description of passing along a woman to be disrespectful and disturbing. I gotta hear the conversation. 41. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath often spoke of their previous pornography addiction. Mr. Baldoni would often reference pornography to Ms. Lively, hoping to shut the subject down. She said to him privately that she had never seen it. Later, when Mr. Baldoni was once again referencing his experiences with pornography, he revealed in front of other casting crew that Miss Lively had never seen porn. Oh gosh, Justin. Maybe he just has a big mouth. It was an incredible invasion of her privacy to discuss any aspects of her intimate life with the casting crew, much as reveal something that she had only told Mr. Baldoni to get him to stop talking about the subject with her. Jesus. I wonder if Justin Baldoni is the type of person who, and anytime when he meets someone, it's like he already assumes that they're like best friend status or something. You guys should listen to his TED Talk. Oh yeah, I did see that he was on TED Talk. I have not listened to it yet. I would definitely check it out. Hi Dahlia, how are you doing today? How's it going? Oh boy. So, I mean, imagine being Blake Lively. This guy's like talking about pornography, blah, 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 blah. And then for her, all she wants to do is shut down the conversation. She's just like, I've never seen porn. Okay, I've never seen porn. And that's why she said it like that, you know, shut down the conversation. And then later on, the guy's like, oh, guys, she's never seen porn. Can you believe it? That's how I imagine it went. 42. When Mr. Baldoni engaged in other behaviors that were shocking and emotionally distressing. For example, he claimed he can speak to the dead. Okay. And on several occasions told her that he had spoken to her dead father. It was off-putting and violative of Mr. Baldoni to claim a personal relationship with her recently deceased father. Oh, recently deceased. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath were also constantly hugging and touching cast and crew when Miss Lively and others avoided his touching. Ooh, I don't like touchy people. I fucking do not like touchy people, especially in workplace environments. There was this creep that used to work in the kitchen, and this is when I was in like high school, college, working in a restaurant. And so me and the other female staff would always realize that there's this guy that would work in the back, right? Dishwasher guy. And so anytime when he would grab, like he would come to the server station and like grab like the dishes and stuff like that, he'd always like make it a point to like really brush his body onto people. Like, even if it wasn't like a close gap, even if it was like we weren't even like near him, he would always make it a point to like really like brush his body on like us. Like, oh, and that guy was just a total creep. I fucking hated that guy. Fuck that guy. When Miss Lively and others avoided his touching, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath would retaliate by becoming irritated, cold, and uncollaborative. The result was an unwelcoming and mercurial environment for Miss Lively and her employees and others on set. What are my New Year's resolutions for 2025? Oh gosh, man, I haven't done New Year's resolutions in so long. I don't have any. I don't know. I don't do New Year's resolutions. Oh, because I feel like I always have things that I always want to do, you know, goals and all that stuff. Let's see if I can think of one on the spot. I mean, it's always, you know, eating healthier, being more active. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm so boring. I haven't really thought about it. These are just goals that I just usually have always, I guess. Get good in pickleball. Nah, pickleball's not that serious. It ain't that serious. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's about it. Just, you know, healthy, stay healthy, be active. Yeah. Less shopping. Yeah. 43. Mr. Baldoni often referred to women in this workplace as sexy. When they expressed discomfort, Mr. Baldoni would deflect or try to pass it off. God, I hate people like that, which undermined Miss Lively and others' concerns. For example, on one occasion, Miss Lively observed he told a female cast member that her leather pants looked sexy when she arrived to the set. When she rebuffed his comment because she was uncomfortable, rather than apologizing, he brushed it off with, I can say that because my wife is here today. Sure. What else can you say? Miss Lively felt embarrassed witnessing this kind of commentary, as did others. 44. On another day, Miss Lively wore a low-cut dress to facilitate breastfeeding, but had it covered up with a coat. When the jacket briefly popped open at one point to reveal the dress, Mr. Baldoni commented on how much he liked her outfit, which flustered Miss Lively. Later that day, Mr. Baldoni pressured Miss Lively, who was in her pre-approved wardrobe, to remove her coat in front of the crew and multiple background actors in a packed bar. He said he wanted to see her onesie under the coat because it was zipped low to reveal her lace bra. Oh my gosh. Consistent with past practice, he said, "I think you look sexy," in a tone that made her feel ogled and exposed. With other female cast present, she said, "That's not what I'm going for." He brusquely replied, "I'm sorry, hot." Deeply uncomfortable, Miss Lively said, "Not that either." Mr. Baldoni responded sarcastically, "I guess I missed the HR meeting," and walked away. Another woman on the production spoke to Miss Lively afterwards to offer empathy to share her own experiences, their own experiences with Mr. Baldoni, commenting on her in sexual terms. Jesus Christ. Well, like I said, based on this complaint, there's going to be lots of witnesses. And we'll get to hear from them on whether or not all this is true. 45. As a result of Mr. Baldoni's behavior on May 29, 2023, another cast member lodged a sexual harassment complaint about Mr. Baldoni's gross and unwanted comments towards her and others. 46. While, on the other hand, Mr. Baldoni was objectifying Ms. Lively, I actually didn't okay. I knew about the stuff that was in this complaint, but reading it line for line, it really does just get worse. Because I knew about some of the stuff that was happening and most of it, but just reading it's just oh gosh. And having to be in this workplace environment. Ooh, and then you have to act with that person. You got to make out with that person. You got to touch them. And you got to, oh God, oh. Would hate to be an actress. 46. While on the other hand, Mr. Baldoni was objectifying Miss Lively as a sex object. On the other hand, he went out of his way to message criticism of her age, weight. Neither which she could change during filming. On the second day of filming, for example, Mr. Baldoni made the rest of the casting crew wait for hours while he cried in Miss Lively's dressing room, claiming social media commentators were saying that Miss Lively looked old and unattractive based on paparazzi photos from the set. She tried to reassure him that she should look authentic in the scene depicted in the photos, which were just after her character had been abused by her fictional husband rather than hot. What the fuck am I reading here? Why was he crying? Was he afraid his movie was going to tank because people were saying Blake Lively looked old and unattractive and they were going to go after the movie and it would ruin his movie? I'm so confused. Why would he be crying? And it says, I think, for hours, right? Was he crying for hours? It says for hours. What is going on here? Mr. Baldoni, however, appeared focused on Miss Lively's sexual appeal above all else. His lengthy outburst caused a delay in shooting, forcing an emotional scene to be shot haphazardly. I'm telling you guys, when I watched the towards the end of the movie, I felt like it was discombobulated. The part where she gets essentially horribly essayed by her husband. And I think they cut it because they didn't want it to make it as bad as the book, but it felt really discombobulated. And then the way it ended, and I don't know, it was a really weird. The movie just went really weird after that scene, and that's why I was thinking, did they not fully shoot the scene properly, and then they had to take a bunch of different cuts from other shots and then put it together, and that's why it felt really weird. I don't know. It was that scene, and afterwards, I just felt like the movie was really disconnected. It didn't really flow. To make matters worse, when Miss Lively tried to have a meeting with Mr. Heath and other producers to discuss Mr. Baldoni's unprofessional behavior described above, that meeting turned yet into another violation. Oh no, what happens now? Rather than an ordinary meeting, time and place, Mr. Heath arrived unannounced at Miss Lively's hair and makeup trial while she was topless and having body makeup removed by makeup artists. Miss Lively told Mr. Heath that she was done and they could meet once she was clothed. However, Mr. Heath insisted that if she didn't allow him into the trailer to speak with him at that moment, there would be no meeting with no other producers. Miss Lively reluctantly agreed, but asked that Mr. Heath keep his back turned. A few minutes into the conversation, Miss Lively noticed that Mr. Heath was staring directly at her while she was topless. When she called him out, Mr. Heath brushed it off as a habit of wanting to look at a person while speaking to them. Oh boy. Miss Lively and her hair and makeup artists were all deeply disturbed by this interaction on just the second day of filming. Second day? This is second day? 48. Throughout the filming, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath invaded Miss Lively's privacy by entering her makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding her infant child. Miss Lively often had to work while breastfeeding, which she felt uncomfortable. Well, she felt comfortable doing so long as she was given the time and space to cover herself. She did this frequently because she had not been given breaks to feed her baby, and Miss Lively did not expect or consent to anyone entering her private spaces while topless, exposed, and vulnerable with her newborn or during body makeup application or removal. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath both showed a shocking lack of boundaries by invading her personal space while she was undressed and vulnerable. Holy fucking shit. Dominique, I'm not a Blake Lively fan. She's not fat at all. She's beautiful. Resolutions were created by the Babylonians 4,000 years ago because in mid-March their crops weren't harvesting. Is that the lore on it? I had no idea. He must have had an alcohol or drug problem. This is insane. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that yet. No idea. Is he Mormon, talking to and seeing spirits? Remember Chad and Lori Daybell said the same thing. I don't know what religion he is, but he named his company Wayfair after it. These guys are habitual line steppers. Ooh, I hate those. The boundary pushers. I hate boundary pushers. I hate those people. Those pushy fuckers. Mr. Baldoni also routinely degraded Miss Lively by finding back-channel ways of criticizing her body and weight. A few weeks after filming began and less than 4 months after Miss Lively had given birth to her fourth child, Miss Lively was humiliated to learn that Mr. Baldoni secretly called her fitness trainer, without her knowledge or permission, implied that he wanted her to lose weight in 2 weeks. Yikes. Let's see, a little note here. Miss Lively was not given proper lactation breaks by Wayfair during film, which sometimes stretched into 6 hours without a break. When filming finally broke, Miss Lively would have to run to her trailer to breastfeed. The lack of accommodation for her need to express milk caused her to develop painful mastitis. Oh, I heard that's painful. Yeah. If you're like actively breastfeeding and then, you know, like I think it all like builds up. I hear it gets really painful. Mr. Baldoni told the trainer that he had asked because he was concerned about having to pick Miss Lively up for a scene for a movie. But there's no such scene. Did he pick her for the movie? I thought he did. Did he not? Maybe he didn't. When Miss Lively caught strep throat, Mr. Baldoni offered as a gift to connect her with an expert he had on retainer to help her with probiotics and to combat the sickness. When Miss Lively went to fill out the privacy form, she saw the expert was not what Mr. Baldoni had represented her to be, but instead a weight loss specialist? Wait, what? No way. Miss Lively felt once again Mr. Baldoni was shaming her for her body and weight. Jesus. I want to see this person's resume. 51. Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath failed to implement COVID protocols when there was a COVID outbreak on set. Ms. Lively was told by another producer that because Wayfair did not have insurance coverage for COVID, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath deliberately withheld from Ms. Lively that she had been exposed to COVID. Both Ms. Lively and her infant child contracted COVID from the outbreak. Oof, that sucks. Having an infant with COVID, not fun. Not fun at all. Ms. Lively and other lodged grievances regarding the conduct of Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath, which Wayfair declines to investigate. As the studio producing the film, Wayfair was employer of the cast and the crew and thus responsible for ensuring workplace safety on set. However, the Wayfair failed to provide Ms. Lively with a rudimentary employment protection such as employee handbook, sexual harassment policy information, or any training on sexual harassment, discrimination, or respectful workplace expectation. Wayfair also failed to provide Ms. Lively information about the process and procedure for filing human resources complaints. As a producer known of the film, Wayfair was legally obligated to address HR-related concerns and complaints. Okay. May 26, Ms. Lively told a representative of Sony that she wanted to file an HR complaint about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's conduct. The Sony representative told Ms. Lively that Sony, as a distributor of film, was not empowered to control Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath's production or behavior on the set, and that such concern must be raised with Wayfair. Oof, the studio responsible for the production. Oof. It's like, but they're the people that I'm complaining about are the ones that are ahead of it, you know? Wayfair, Baldoni, and Mr. Heath receive or were aware of the number of HR grievances regarding their conduct. For example, on the first day of filming, while attempting to hug Miss Lively's employee, Mr. Heath said, "I don't know if we're even allowed to do this. It's day one and we already have a HR report already." Yikes. Additionally, early in the production, another actress made a complaint about Mr. Baldoni's comment on her appearance. Mr. Baldoni expressly acknowledged her concerns in writing, stating he would adjust accordingly. Yet, on June 8th, that actress informed Miss Lively that outside of anything in a scene, "I actually cannot talk to Justin at all." Mr. Baldoni later expressed suspicion regarding Ms. Lively's friendship with this actress, as if they were colluding against him. As described above, Ms. Lively and others attempted to raise concerns to Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath regarding certain of conduct described during filming, but they were not addressed given the futility of asking Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath to address their own behavior. After unsuccessfully attempting to raise concerns with Sony, Ms. Lively expressly told Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath that they were serious HR problems on the set. Mr. Heath responded that they knew, implying that someone had mentioned to them that Ms. Lively had raised concerns. In response, Mr. Heath told Ms. Lively that he thought she wanted to see the nude video of his wife. And she's like, no. 61. In the same conversation, when Ms. Lively expressed her upset with Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni had hidden the fact that she'd been exposed to a COVID outbreak on the set from which she and her infant contracted COVID. Instead of acknowledging responsibility and committing to safety moving forward, they expressed upset over production days missed and resulting cause. Despite receiving multiple detailed reports by Ms. Lively and others about Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's misconduct, Wayfair failed to investigate those reports or to otherwise institute protections for the cast. This is so even though the incidents discussed above, among others, did not take place in isolation, and many, if not all, were witnessed by others. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes, like in a workplace environment, sometimes like if you're being sexually harassed, sometimes it's just isolation between you and the other person. There's no witnesses. It's a he said, she said thing, and it's really hard to really, get people to believe that it was true. But since we got lots of witnesses, we'll see who they back. By these and other behaviors, Mr. Baldoni, Heath, Wayfair engaged in harassing conduct, failed their obligation to investigate complaints of a workplace harassment, to prevent inappropriate and harassing behaviors on set, and to provide avenues for casting crew members to safely raise concerns to neutral parties so they can be investigated and appropriately addressed. All right. The parties negotiated a contract rider regarding Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's conduct on It Ends With Us. May 2nd, a Writers Guild of America made of 2 American labor unions representing more than 16,000 writers in the film, television, radio, and online media went on strike in connection with the labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers. The film temporarily halted production in June 2023 as a result of WA picketing. On June 15, 2023, Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni announced the continued halt production of the film due to the ongoing WA strike and lost days of experience from picketing. While the WGA strike was underway, on July 14, 2023, the America's Actors Union, known as SAG-AFTRA, the labor represented 160,000 people, blah, 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 began to strike due to dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. That strike ended on September 27, 2023. WGA strike ended September 27. The SAG-AFTRA strike ended on November 9. Before returning to production, Ms. Lively attempted to address and resolve the problems on set and requested that Wayfair agree to address the conditions described above. November 9, 2023, Ms. Lively's attorneys provided Wayfair's attorneys with a document entitled Protections for Return to Production. In conveying the protection for return to production document, Ms. Lively requests that Wayfair agree to implement a plan that would enable everyone to return to work and complete the film with adequate protection to ensure safe set moving forward. November 11, counsel for Wayfair indicated that Wayfair, Sony, and Productions respectfully acknowledge that your client has concerns regarding safety, professionalism, and workplace culture. Although our perspective differs in many aspects, ensuring a safe environment for all involved is paramount, irrespective of differing viewpoints. Regarding your outline requests, we find most of them not only are reasonable, but also essential for the benefit of the parties involved. On November 15, Wayfair, through It Ends With Us, agreed to the terms of the contractual rider. It was executed January 19. Are we going to read through all this again? Let's see. Intimacy coordinator must be present at all times when Lively is on set. So I still don't know if the intimacy coordinator was like hired before or during. My assumption they were hired during the entire time, but they just weren't always present. with certain scenes that needed them to be there. With respect to any artists and rehearsals, filming, reviewing of video playback, or dailies, and our interaction with the scenes involving simulated sex nudity and or partial nudity should be restricted to those people who are essential businesses with essential business reasons for being present, such as essential personnel, and approved by Ms. Lively and Todd Black, as further described in the nudity rider attached in Schedule 1. No spontaneous improvisations of any scenes involving intimate sex, physical touching, simulated sex, or nudity with respect to Ms. Lively. I think a lot of this is just pretty much kind of like before. We're just setting rules for all the bad behaviors from before. Hang on, I think I read all this. I just want to make sure. Is there anything? The all-hands in-person meeting provided for the contract writer occurred on January 4 before the production resumed. Meeting was attended by Baldoni, Heath, producer Alex Sachs, producer Todd Black, and Sony's Angie Giannotti, as well as Ms. Lively and her husband, who attended Ms. Lively's request as another designated representative as provided for in the contract, given the subject matter of the meeting. January 4, 2024 meeting, the parties discussed a list of 20 examples of behaviors that gave rise to the contract writer for her contemporaneous notes. These behaviors are listed in the full earlier in this complaint at paragraph 3. Neither Mr. Baldoni or Mr. Heath denied the veracity of Ms. Lively's examples. Ms. Lively requested Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agreed that such behaviors would no longer take place as memorialized in the language of the writer. Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath agreed. They resumed the production of the film on January 5th, 2024, and they concluded on February 9. In connection with the film's public release, Miss Lively and the rest of the cast actively promoted the film in accordance with the marketing plan for the film. Again, a lot of people were giving her shit for the way that she talked about the film. She downplayed or didn't even talk about DV at all. Talked about, the hopes of it, talks about the positives of it pretty much. And she got a lot of shit for that, right? And meanwhile, Justin Baldoni was talking about more of the DV aspect, but it seems like that was something that was planned by his PR team because they realized, like, oh, look, Blake Lively's getting shit for not talking about DV. So you know what, Justin Baldoni, you talk about it. You talk about DV then. That's what it seems like. But now we know that it was because Lively was trying to follow with the Sony marketing plan where she had to focus on the positives and being hopeful. Don't talk about anything sad and dreary, even though the movie stems from DV. Marketing plans related talking points expressly requires Miss Lively, as well as other cast and crew engaged in promotional activities, to focus more on the character's strength, resilience, as opposed to describing the film as a story about DV. And to avoid talking about the films that makes people feel sad or heavy. It's a story of hope. Again, we already talked about this part. They promoted the film with those talking points and marketing plans, red carpets, interviews, press junkets, fan events, pop-up experiences leading up to the film's releases. Baldoni publicly embraced the marketing plan. In early May 2024, Mr. Baldoni appeared at a floral-themed trailer launch event, which included him personally making flower bouquets for influencers, a photo opportunity, and a film-branded latte art. As late of July 25th, 2024, Mr. Baldoni appeared at a Pop of Lily Bloom's flower shop in Century City, California, where he held a long-stem rose microphone and playfully gave tours of the shop to influencers. In a TikTok interview posted that day, Mr. Baldoni excitedly talks about the pop-up and states that he will be giving tours all day, every day until August 9. Oh God, all this flower theme. In advance of the release of the film, nearly all cast members chose to appear in public separately from Mr. Baldoni, given his on-set behavior. Mr. Baldoni became concerned that the public would discover that something is much bigger than the surface on information and belief, alluding to the complaints lodged by Ms. Lively and others. At that point, Mr. Baldoni pivoted away from the film's marketing plan to explain his absence from the rest of the cast. He shifted his focus away from the message of female triumph to instead capitalize on female trauma. After the film's premiere, Mr. Baldoni changed his Instagram profile, canceled lighthearted social media posts, and instructed his team to look for survivors' reaction and support, all in an effort to quickly shift his public narrative to focus solely on survivors and domestic violence organization. Again, they're saying that he did it strategically so he can be seen as like, oh, the good guy, the guy who actually will truly represent the book, the story, the movie for what it is, instead of trying to fluff it up. Miss Abel cautioned Mr. Baldoni that the shift might be too drastic too soon. Still, Mr. Baldoni insisted on a TikTok strategy TikTok strategy. And that his promotional activities for the film should be to seek to amplify what he described as survivor content. Okay, let's see. From Justin Baldoni to Jennifer Abel. Hey, just landed. What is the TikTok strategy? I'd like you guys to start posting me only talking about domestic violence and clips and why this movie is so important. Again, without the context, without seeing other text messages, when I see this text message, it could be that it is being represented as how this complaint is representing, and like, oh, Mr. Baldoni is just being strategic, he doesn't give a fuck, and that he's only doing it just makes him look good, right? Or it could just be that he genuinely does care and that he realized, hey, like talking all the fluff about the movie seems kind of stupid. Like, why would I do that? Let me talk about the real deal here. So I don't know. We need more context here. I can't just go off of like one text message. Need more context. 86. The team followed Mr. Baldoni's instruction. For her part, Ms. Abel concluded, it doesn't feel performative now that you've done major, substantial press on the topic. On August 11, 2024, Ms. Abel laid out a posting timeline to Mr. Baldoni and the team stating, theater surprise, and then I think survivor content first thing tomorrow a.m., which then will be helpful for the news cycle. By repositioning Mr. Baldoni's marketing of the film on the film on information and belief. God, and that's another phrase that I can't even look at without thinking of Corey Richards. There are like some phrases that has like ruined it for me, like, you know, for Sarah Boone, we got like a couple of phrases, not intentional, and then shit, what was the other one we said earlier? And then for upon information and belief, I think of Corey Richards because she's like, upon information and belief, LOL. Oy, oy, oy. Mr. Baldoni hoped to create the false impression that he had chosen not to appear alongside other cast members. Oof. Mr. Baldoni directed his team to share his public Instagram feed, the private messages he had received from survivors sharing their story of domestic violence with him. I wonder if he got their permission. I'm assuming he would have gotten their permission, right? Mr. Baldoni's team talked him out of the idea, writing that they do not recommend using private DMs as content. Yeah, that's good. You probably shouldn't. All right, from Justin Baldoni. This is him writing to Jennifer Abel. Also, I need you guys to be really on... Fuck, what does it say? Also, I need you guys to really be on all the stories I'm tagged in. I think you should let all people DM me so you can see people's reactions to the film and I can be reposting everything. These next 36 hours are crucial and we need to be on it. Looking at everything. Finding the most emotional and touching content from survivors supporting this film and reposting. Yeah, you would definitely need their consent. I don't know. This message could look bad, but at the same time, it could just also not look bad. We just need more context behind it. Need you to be finding survivors sharing their stories and amplifying them on my page and TikTok. It could be that he wants to amplify their experiences. He wants to make sure they feel like they're being heard. And maybe, even though he didn't explicitly say like, oh, let's get their permission first, maybe that was his intention to get permission. But like I said, we don't have enough context here. We just have like one text message. Need more. Wait, what happened, Dominic? They gave me notice to leave in December. What? Who? Your workplace? I recently reported to my real estate that I was sexually harassed by a handyman, and now I'm looking for somewhere else to live, and I'm having heart problems. Wait, what? This is at your building? Wait, is this your landlord? They're like kicking you out or something? I see Rain and Gwen. You guys are still discussing. I don't know what you guys are discussing about. I have not been looking at the chat. I'm sorry, but I hope you guys are behaving. Justin's team can subpoena all of that. Fire a counter complaint if Blake's team did the same tactic. That will come out as well. Hello, Sherry. How's it going? Hi, Morton. How are you doing today? I'm going to fight it, but they're claiming the owner is selling, even though that's not the reason they initially gave. Mr. Baldoni went so far as proposing to share video of a woman's birth moment, but his team talked him out of it, warning that might be perceived as weird and was too intimate. Still, Mr. Baldoni's team was more than willing to deploy survivor stories, reactions, and images to protect Mr. Baldoni's image. Mr. Baldoni and his team formulate a retaliatory plan. All right, 89. Wayfair knew the details of Ms. Lively and others' concerns, the HR complaints raised regarding Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's behavior, Ms. Lively's contractual rider, and the January 4, 2024 meeting to discuss their behavior. In addition, Wayfair PR team knew about the claims by Ms. Lively and others, as well as a protective rider, as Wayfair sent the materials to them in November 2023. As early as May 2020. Okay, have you guys ever read something but then like dissociated and that you just don't, then you realize you didn't retain what you just read and you're just like, what the fuck did I say? I'm going to reread the whole paragraph again because I literally just dissociated even though it's coming out of my mouth. Let's start over. Mr. Baldoni and his team formulated a retaliatory plan. Wayfarer knew the details of Ms. Lively's and others' concerns. The HR complaints raised regarding Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath's behavior, Ms. Lively's contractual writer, and the January 4, 2024 meeting to discuss their behavior. In addition, Wayfarer's PR team knew about the claims that Ms. Lively and others, as well as protections writers, as Wayfarer sent the materials to them in November 2023. Okay. Me through my college? 90. As early as May 2024, Mr. Baldoni told his team they needed to get a plan to get ahead of the claims against them in the event they were to go public. Specifically, Mr. Baldoni wrote, "Just want you guys to have a plan. Plans make me feel more at ease." May 17, 2024, Mr. Baldoni texted his publicist Jennifer Abel that Miss Lively's husband had blocked him on social media, stating, "We should have a plan for if she does the same when the movie comes out." Baldoni is sweating because, Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. Hold on a second, let that chair out. Man, I was planning on doing this all in one stream. This might have to be a two-part because we didn't even get into the fucking lawsuit yet. Wait, do I need my earbuds? I just wear them just in case. Was I not wear my earbuds before? In June 2024, a month after Mr. Baldoni's first promotional event for the film, I don't need it. Ms. Lively and others and the cast fulfilled their first publicity obligation for the film without Mr. Baldoni. They did not discuss publicly the misconduct that had occurred on set, nor did they ever suggest to Wayfarer or Mr. Baldoni they intended to discuss their concerns publicly. Yet, on June 20, 2024, Ms. Abel texted Mr. Heath her concern. "We can't have fans starting to guess why JB is left out of this stuff." Likewise, Mr. Baldoni strategized with his publicist, Ms. Abel, about various ways in which they might cover up or explain away his on-set misconduct. On June 24, 2024, for example, Mr. Baldoni proposed an offensive move showing his neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it. Oh, no. Oh, no. Is he just going to say, the reason why I'm a creep is because I'm just, what do you say? Awkward, impulsive. Jesus. It's like, you're an adult. Come on. You're an adult. To explain that anything that he had been accused of was social awkwardness and impulsive speech. All right, so let's see what the notes say here. In fact, Miss Lively and her husband had unfollowed Baldoni's social media 10 months before. Consistent with this plan, Baldoni has recently been making press rounds discussing his ADHD. Oh no, do we have a timeline for all this? Is this happening? Oh, Jesus. Let's get ahead of it, okay? Let's make sure everyone knows I have ADHD and I've been diagnosed with and blah, blah, blah. That way, if something does come out, I can always reference to my ADHD. All right. See, Kimberly Speakerman, Justin Baldoni reveals he was diagnosed with ADHD at 40 after struggling through school. I felt broken. Justin Baldoni said he had a near breakdown while filming It Ends With Us. There was so much pain. Justin Baldoni reveals new clinical diagnosis. I haven't spoken about this publicly. See Brent Lang and let's see. Video of Francis Ford Coppola kissing crew members. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that. Okay, we're not there yet. We ain't there yet. Let me go back up. Okay. He's saying it's ADHD. Okay. Blocking and unblocking, so childish. Are they in high school? I don't know if they blocked or unblocked or if it's just unfollow. All right. Justin Baldoni from Justin Baldoni. So again, Justin wrote this to Jennifer Abel. Hey guys, one thing I think I want to do is the Dr. Amen show. Matt, I know you guys have feelings about it, but his practice saved my friend's Miranda's life a few months ago. With everything going on, I want to have an offensive move showing my neurodivergence and some of the attributes that come with it so I can start talking about it. Most anything that I've been accused of is social awkwardness and impulsive speech. And I think me sitting down with him, just looking at my brain and talking about some of these things will be very helpful for me. The same day, Ms. Abel reviewed again the agreed upon list of protections that form on the basis for the contractual writer. July 2024, Ms. Abel emailed Mr. Heath and others requesting the legal letters that were sent to Ms. Lively and her team stating, per our conversation, we will go through point by point and draft context surrounding each situation. We can then flag what we are missing that would be helpful to arm us in the case we need to refute any of the claims. On July 26, 2024, Mr. Baldoni sent Ms. Abel a Variety article about Francis Ford Coppola's inappropriate behavior on set. Speaking of Francis Ford Coppola, dude, I just fucking watched The Godfather a couple months back. Holy shit. Godfather 1, Godfather 2, so fucking good. And then I watched this TV show that covered the filming of The Godfather. The TV show had the guy that played in Top Gun the new Tom Cruise. Sorry, not the new Tom Cruise. The new Top Gun with Tom Cruise. He was the side character. But man, really good TV show. Anyways, okay, Francis Ford Coppola, inappropriate behavior. Let's see. On the production of the movie Megalopolis, how do you pronounce it? Including his alleged kissing of cast and crew and described by unnamed sources. Oh. In conveying the article, Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is the shit that I'm sure they want to do. Unnamed sources, etc." Hello, Nani. How are you doing today? How's it going? Hello, hello. Sarah Boone is in this club? Huh? In what club? I don't think you could blame sexual harassment on ADHD. On July 29, 2024, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel discussed a proposal to get ahead of any potential publicity regarding Ms. Lively's HR complaints against him with a social and digital combat plan. You know, like, Justin Baldoni, it seems like his behavior is reflective of someone who is, like, I don't know, like, if you're, like, a young teen or, like I said, early 20s or mid-20s, you know, and, like, you're just really awkward and, like, you just don't really know how to, like, handle yourself yet. But the fact that he's in his 40s, the fact that he is very into this whole, you know, male feminist wave thing, like, he should be aware of all of this, you know? If you're just, like, a young person and you just don't know fuck all yet, or you're just, like, really awkward, or you're just, like, you know, you're still learning in the ways of life. But I don't know. With Justin Baldoni, it's just, like, I don't know what the excuse would be for you. Because, you know, who you put yourself out to be, right? And then you have this podcast that talks about, like, masculine toxicity and all that stuff. I would definitely figure out, I would definitely feel like he would be someone who would absolutely be aware of his behavior, you know, and how it affects other people. On July 29, 2024, Mr. Baldoni and Ms. Abel discussed a proposal to get ahead of any potential publicity regarding Ms. Lively's HR complaints against him with a social and digital combat plan. Wayfair engages Melissa Nathan and the agency group on behalf of Mr. Baldoni to launch a retaliation campaign against Ms. Lively. As the film's release date of August 9, 2024 drew closer, Mr. Baldoni... Really? The release date was August 9? Interesting. Drew closer, Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, Wayfair, Ms. Abel, and others continue to pursue a strategy on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair to arm themselves against the possibility that Ms. Lively and others might go public with the claims against Mr. Baldoni or Wayfair. This plan took shape with Wayfair's retention. You know, it's crazy. If everything in this complaint was true and Justin Baldoni was a piece of shit on the set, which led to people being uncomfortable and then having this all-hands meeting where rules were set that he had to follow, and the reason why no one wanted to promote with him was because of how he acted on set, and then he was trying to get ahead of it by attacking Blake Lively, and the reason why he attacks Blake Lively, or what followed him attacking Blake Lively led to actually revealing what happened on set. It's like everything keeps happening because of his actions. It's like, okay, well, the people didn't want to promote with you because of your actions on set, allegedly, right, on this complaint. And then it's like, well, now we are learning about your actions on the set because of what you allegedly did to Blake Lively, right? If all this was true, it would just be like, holy fucking shit. None of this wouldn't have needed to happen, but it all happened because of Justin Baldoni, if this was true. But I'm just trying to think of, like, damn, like, this whole thing is just like, it's like he fucked himself. Yeah, because he didn't want any of this to come out. All right, because I don't know, what does Blake Lively or anyone else, do they even have any incentive to even, let's say they're all promoting the movie and they're all promoting the movie and the public thinks, oh, Justin's the weird one. Like, what would be their incentive to be like, actually, you know what? Let me just drop the T on everything that happened on set. Let me just drop the T. Like, I don't know. Why would they want to do that? But maybe Justin Baldoni was just getting really paranoid. He was just really scared that they would do that. This plan took shape with Wayfair's retention on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni of Melissa Nathan, which occurred on or around July 31st, 2024. Hey, what's up, Kurt? How are you doing today? Curtis? No, hell no. Hi, Curtis. How are you doing today? Not an excuse. Fudge that. TAG markets itself as a team of crisis specialists and communication experts, or redefines the rules of reputation management. TAG's website states, at TAG, it is more than just creating a powerful narrative. It is knowing how to navigate that narrative towards continued success and lasting legacy. TAG's website states that it offers comprehensive communication services for individuals, businesses, and corporations looking to invest in reputation management and the growth of their unique public profiles. TAG specializes in crisis communications, having managed some of the biggest public-facing crises to date, and utilizes a fast-paced, reputation-first mindset with all of its day-to-day clients, which spans a variety of industries, including entertainment, media, business, and sports. TAG services include messaging and narrative development, media relations, crisis communications and management, and digital and social strategy, amongst other. Maybe he was upset Blake didn't send him his hair, him with her hairline. I mean, just about Baldoni. He's got great hair. On July 31st, 2024, Wayfair had started to put together a timeline of events to be shared with Ms. Nathan and TAG. According to TAG's own planning document, the purpose of Ms. Nathan's engagement was to help Baldoni get ahead of the narrative and mitigate bad press that might arise from Ms. Lively's and others' HR complaints becoming public by engaging in techniques such as rapid response communication system and cataloging third-party advocates willing to provide a potential quote or engage with reporters on Mr. Baldoni's and Mr. Heath's behalf to mitigate negative narratives from the source outside of Wayfair. As said above, on August 5th, Mr. Baldoni sent Mr. Abel a screenshot of a thread on X regarding another female public figure's alleged history of bullying many women. Mr. Baldoni stated, "This is what we would need." The next day, even though Ms. Nathan, and TAG had already begun performing work on behalf of Wayfair and Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Nathan texted a chain with Ms. Abel and Mr. Heath, providing pricing quotes ranging from $75,000 to $175,000 for TAG's crisis mitigation services. Ms. Nathan explained the quote as follows. Quote 1, $175K. This will be for a 3 to 4 period. Includes website to discuss, full Reddit, full social takedowns, full social crisis team on hand for anything. Engage with audiences in the right way. Start threads of theories to discuss. This way to be fully 100% protected. Quote 2, $25K per month, minimum 3 months as it needs to see the same as above. Do you think he's still on this payment plan? Is he still paying them? This will be for the creation of social fan engagement to go back and forth with any negative accounts, helping to change the narrative and stay on track. Ms. Nathan stated all this will be most importantly untraceable. There is a lot more to both of these quotes, but easier to discuss via phones in terms of capabilities and what I have personally experienced in and out of crisis scenarios. Holy shit. Should I have just read this fucking text? I didn't know they were going to paste this text. I should have just read this goddamn text. Let me read the text. From Melissa Nathan to Jennifer Abel. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Jen. So incredibly glad the press went so well today. And from what I know, Justin felt incredibly supported. He's lucky to have you all. We took the day today to discuss some research and digital codes in terms of 2 teams we use to get that best result. As you are aware, we are in a predicament that we just do not know the outcome of right now. Saying that full transparency is key here. We have seen the most innocuous issues turn giant due to socials or hugest crisis. Hugest crisis. Oh my god. I have a problem with the way this person writes. Of the hugest crisis have no effects on social whatsoever. You just cannot tell your state at this stage, but Blake Lively does have some of the TS fans. Oh, Taylor Swift fans? Ooh. Blake Lively does have some of the Taylor Swift fans, so we will be taking it extremely seriously. We also understand audience is not solely JB fan base, but the studio, so it is covering all this basis time. Quote 1, $175K. This would be 3 to 4 month period and include website to discuss, blah, 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 all this what I said earlier. Quote 2, $25K a month, blah, 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 all this what I said earlier. All this will be mostly importantly untraceable. We have the text messages. There is a lot more both of these quotes, but easier to discuss via phone in terms of capabilities and what I have personally experienced in and out of crisis scenarios. Either way, I do feel it is better to be safe, but I do realize costs are something I am sure you did not count on me when you took on this project nor the situation. Let me know when you would like to discuss more around on PT tomorrow. M. The Hollywood Reporter announced the retention of Ms. Nathan and Tag on August 13, 2024. That report stated in part, the news comes days after sleuths flooded TikTok with speculation about an alleged rift between Baldoni and his cast and crew, including co-star and producer Blake Lively, as well as Hoover. Chatter spiked when fans noticed Baldoni's absence from joint press events and the lack of group photos of Lively and Baldoni together at a New York premiere August 6. Some also pointed out that neither Lively nor Hoover nor the rest of the cast follow Baldoni on Instagram, though he follows them. Oh, this is an article that I had up. Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfair perpetrate a retaliation scheme against Ms. Lively. Ms. Lively, Ms. Nathan, and others employed or engaged by Tag perpetrated a retaliation scheme against Ms. Lively in a collusion with Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfair. This game was what Tag described as a social manipulation plan relying on direct and constant media engagement, the seeding of content on traditional and social media platforms, the boosting of content, sometimes the very content that Tag and his affiliates had seeded, the suppressing of negative content about Mr. Baldoni, and amplifying the negative content about Ms. Lively. On August 1, before any cast sat down for interviews at the film's press junkets, Ms. Abel stated to Mr. Heath and Wayfair personnel that she had held an in-person meeting with the contributor to People, Fox News, In Touch, US Weekly. Ms. Abel explained that during the meeting, she had fully briefed the contributor of the situation with Ms. Lively, and Ms. Abel stated that the contributor was armed and ready to take the story of Blake weaponizing feminism, and assured Mr. Heath that the contributor will do anything for us. Ugh. From Jennifer Abel to Jamie Heath to someone else. Jennifer Abel writes, thanks for the call. Confidentially, I'm out to dinner with a friend of 12 plus years who writes for People magazine. Ooh, Fox News. Ooh, In Touch, in US Weekly. And she's fully briefed the situation and is armed and ready to take this story. Oh my God. Why is this so cringe? Of Blake weaponizing feminism to any of her outlets. The minute we give her the green light, she hates Blake. Has heard of this story before and would do anything for us, just FYI. Why does she hate Blake? Ooh, is there some personal things happening here? Has heard of this story before. What is that referring to? No. Oh, wait. I kind of want to read this. What is this here? Jezebel. I don't know what to make of this. I'm sure Nathan is great at her job, but it feels wild to me to hire Depp's formal crisis PR when you're maybe in some hot water over a movie you made where you play a domestic abuser. Emphasis in original. Wait, where is this from? I want this screenshot. On or around August 2nd, 2024, Ms. Abel connected the contributor with Ms. Nathan. Subsequently, Ms. Nathan engaged directly with media sources on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair regarding Mr. Baldoni, Ms. Lively, and the film. On August 2nd, 2024, Ms. Nathan, Baldoni, Abel, and others had a phone call to discuss the services that Nathan and Tag would provide for Baldoni and Wayfair. Subsequently, on August 2nd, 2024, Tag circulated a document to Mr. Baldoni and others entitled Scenario Planning, It Ends With Us. Of note, the scenario planning document states there are several potential scenarios at play here which we should prepare for should Miss Lively and her team make grievances public. See Exhibit D. Can I just go straight to Exhibit D? What page am I on? 35. Can you guys remember 35 for me? 35. Ooh, we got this. Okay. Holy shit. Confidential. Dun dun. Objective. Protect the reputation of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfair Studios in the lead up, during, and the following the premiere of It Ends With Us. Underscore the achievement and efforts of the Wayfair team in bringing this movie into life, and emphasize Justin and the studio's commitment to their team and making the broader industry a more inclusive space. Okay. Though there are several potential scenarios at play here, which we should be prepared for should Blake Lively and her team make her grievances public via a blatant story or subtle leak. Given she was made to compromise with the premiere, we feel she will move forward with doing so. Our recommendation is to get ahead of this narrative, owing any misconceptions and addressing them head on. Ultimately, we need to be ready to take the air out of any story that does arise, as well as commentary and or background narrative Blake Lively and her team put together without being the louder antagonizer. This is all the stuff they're gonna do. Rapid response. There's pretty much all the stuff that was mentioned before. But we're just getting to like the detail. Like, this is a business plan here. Key messaging points. Baldoni's stellar reputation among colleagues and industry peers, numerous quotes and interviews sharing positive experiences. Baldoni's a longtime activist and advocate of and for women in Hollywood, speaking out about the challenges his colleagues faced before the Me Too movement even began, TED 2017. The Man in a Podcast has been a source of inspiration since it began, fostering a safe and encouraging environment for a range of perspectives to meet and discuss gender roles and how their rigidity affects everyone. I wonder if there's any... So Justin Baldoni is trying to say that, you know, he's got ADHD and that he's impulsive and he kind of just says things. I wonder if this only happens behind the cameras. Does this happen like on interviews? Like, do we see him exhibiting the same behavior on like his podcast set or anything like that? Right? Because if it's turn on and turn off, it might just be because, you know, you can get away with it when no one's like watching, when the cameras aren't rolling or things like that. Right? Because if this was truly someone who was like super awkward and just didn't know right from wrong, or like just doesn't know better, doesn't know well enough, doesn't know any better, then you would see it throughout, right? So like on his podcast, on his like interviews and stuff like that, you would see him being like this creepy, in all spaces. While JB and JH attempted to foster a kind, so Baldoni and Heath, to foster a kind, safe environment during the challenging period in Hollywood, resurgence of COVID, the writers' strike, SAG. After a strike, their efforts were continuously thrown back in their faces. Production members lost their job due to Blake Lively's takeover and insistence upon involvement, including loss of budget due to rescheduling shoot dates when Blake Lively refused to show up. When Blake Lively was able to get her way on set or behind the scenes, she involved her husband to create an imbalance of power between her and Baldoni. Ryan Reynolds went so far to use his power to call agents and agencies, Sony and other key players so that Blake Lively would get her way. Yeah, that was definitely the narrative that was popping up. Because I felt like a lot of the narrative, even though it was like, oh yeah, like, you know, Justin Baldoni seems like the odd one out, I felt like there was still like a good amount of like negativity on Blake Lively as well. I was like on both of them. Blake Lively's less than favorable reputation as the industry spans decades and has been reported. There is issues on Gossip Girl, The Town, A Simple Favor. Scenario 1. Blake and team push out negative story. Justin, Wayfair, post-premiere. Depending upon the scope for a push, we recommend planting a seed earlier on to position your truth/narrative around the ordeal in a subtle way to avoid having to backtrack. So I think him saying that like, oh, you know, Blake Lively, she's ready to direct. Yeah, let her direct. An idea for this, alongside working Jen, is giving a friendly reporter who is covering the film a simple line hinting that you and Blake didn't always agree at times. Had our differences. You had respect for her. This way, if Blake Lively's stories are softer, we don't look so aggressive. If it's a hit piece, then we've teed up reporters properly that there were issues with her. We also ensure the story is broader about the film inspiration, so the line is one part of a larger piece. If our team is working on a longer lead negative narrative, we would be given a short heads up in advance of the story and would, alongside Jen, correct inaccuracies in fact-checking, mitigating false narratives, and point reporters toward third-party advocates who can speak positively on your behalf. Holy shit. We would then brief people with a more robust version of the facts, executing a background approach using third-party advocates, off-record conversations with trusted friendlies, and depict the truth of the situation. Targets would include popular industry newsletters targeting industry peers, studio execs, investors, etc., and social media targeting Baldoni's fan base and those of the film, novelists, world trades, mainstream entertainment. Background information would include background briefing would clarify any misconceptions taken out of context. It would highlight Baldoni and Heath and Wayfair's side of the story with their truth as pertains to any allegations or negativity and facts based on the timeline and issues they experience on their end. I mean, basically, since all this shit's coming out about Justin Baldoni right now, we're already seeing how they are already planning to deal with this. It's crazy. So it's like anything they do, they need to not follow this right here. Because then otherwise it would just look very, it would just look like it wasn't genuine. Let's see, I already read this. Scenario 2, Blake subtly hints at her experience at post-premiere coverage, either in interview, op-ed, or otherwise. Our prediction is that Blake addressed her experience in an upcoming press. She will not name you directly, but rather pepper in Easter eggs alluding to your involvement, being mindful not to completely jeopardize her potential involvement with the film's sequel, while still planting seeds of doubts and speculation, especially amongst the passionate fan base. Blake Lively and her team have already begun to plant seeds around this and insisting promotions be kept separate. Fans have already begun to speculate on the socials that something is amiss. These pieces will likely come out following any potential hit piece and our coverage from the premiere. Actually, you know what? We did get a there was like an insider that was talking about Justin Baldoni being abusive and like really playing his role as Riley Kincaid, but like on the set when there were not cameras rolling. So that could have been, I guess, like maybe like a Blake Lively plant to really add more to the narrative. Maybe it was going to get worse at some point. These pieces will likely come out following any potential hit piece and our coverage from the premiere. Our recommended approach would to provide reporters who reach out for comment, should it be obvious she's referring to you, with the appropriate background information to ensure their stories are balanced and speculation can be turned to another one of your many people she's had issues working with. Leighton Meester, Anna Kendrick, Ben Affleck, etc. Additionally, we would advise taking further ownership of this narrative as an emerging director, lessons learned managing different egos, being the subject to an imbalance of power, and or navigating Hollywood. Remaining dedicated throughout more challenging processes to protect the crew and production members, etc., and remaining strong but not specific and combative. I think that's a good one. Definitely, for sure. It's like, hey, I'm just new to all this, like I'm just a little guy here. I'm trying to work with all these big personalities and they're trying to push me around. Oh man, it's so hard. What an imbalance of power this is. This message can be woven into more positive press about the film, placed by Jen and the team, that you can stay on the high road while sharing your truth in a respectful way. A subtle way to do this is to address some of your issues you face on the podcast and open the floor to discuss ways in which imbalances of Hollywood needs to be addressed and how teams can create safe environments for all cast and production members on set, etc. But I wonder if the cast and crew are going to be like, well, it was a balance because Justin Baldoni and the other guy, they definitely had the power because they were the ones who were in charge of it, blah, blah, blah. I wonder if that could be used to turn against him. All right, scenario 3. Ryan comes forward in defense of his wife. Should Ryan come forward in defense of his wife, we would advise against any direct engagement, statement, etc. Inquiring reporters and those in need of updating would be given a pre-approved line of background attributed to source, implying his lack of connection or involvement with the making of the film, and that this is another imbalance of power, an attempt to strong-arm production by major A-list stars. Our team would also suggest, and we will work with Jen Abel and her team on this, placing proactive interviews for Justin around the movie's debut to speak on his experiences directing and what it's like to produce, direct, and star in a movie, the difference between being in charge and being one of the cast, lessons learned from his experience as a director of the film and others, and what's to come in the IEW, the what now? IEW. It ends with us. It ends with us universe. Hey, Neck Darting today. I wonder if he's always been a kind of shit, but she was the only one who was like, hey, man, I need you to stop. I don't know. As a part of this, our team can also explore plenty of stories about weaponizing feminism and how people in Blake Lively's circle, like Taylor Swift, have been accused of utilizing these tactics to bully into getting what they want. All right, what page was I on? Was it 35? 35. So I think they kind of just go... Yeah, they just do an overview. Oh, it's 3 more text messages. Okay. Wait, what? Sorry, 35? Is it 35? I feel like we're just revisiting this thing all over again. Okay. Let me take a look. Page 35. Okay, we already read this. We're back to the text messages. From Jennifer to Melissa. You can, of course, do that, but I do think he needs to know. I'm going to confidentially send you something. He's texting me and Jamie on the side just to arm you before this call. I think you guys need to be tough and show strength of what you guys can do in these scenarios. He wants to feel like she can be buried. Oh, we did read this. We can't write it down to him. We can't write, we will destroy her. We will go to this. We will do this. We will do this. We will do this. I think what she meant to say is like, we will do this. We'll do that. We'll go to this. We'll go to that. I don't know. From Melissa to Jennifer, he has to look at the information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all these things that he wants ends up in the wrong hands. Okay, read that. On August 4, Miss Abel texted Miss Nathan. Let's just read it. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa Nathan. I'm having reckless thoughts of wanting to plant pieces this week of how horrible Blake is to work with. Just to get ahead of it. She's putting us through hell. She writes back, same. Am I already off the records? Spoke to the editor, Daily Mail, because she's my friend. She's ready when we are. Miss Abel and Miss Nathan viewed and referred to their shared work on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair as social combat plan. From Jennifer Abel to Melissa, I think we really need to put the social combat plan into motion. So do I. That same day, Miss Abel corresponded with TAG personnel regarding her discussion with Miss Nathan regarding social manipulation, which she described as distinct from social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative. Okay, subject, social/digital mitigation/remediation. This was July 8, 2024, from Jennifer Abel to Heath to Melissa Nathan. Thanks, Katie. Just for clarity, so we understand, does this cover your initial fee plus what we discussed in the terms of social media mitigation and proactive fan posting to counter the narrative, or is this addition to the $15K previously agreed upon fee for TAG and does not include what we discussed with MN earlier regarding social manipulation from the separate team based in Hawaii? In short, is this the total fee incurred by Wayfair, $30K, or is there more required to ensure we are properly what now? Pro? I don't know. What does this say, guys? Prot? I don't know what that says. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for giving me the 35. I heard that the Blake is destroying... Okay. I heard that Blake is working with a woman whose firm is destroying people's reputations when they wronged her. Has anyone heard about this? Is working with a woman whose firm... I think I know what you're trying to say. Maybe you're saying that the Justin's former PR person, Jennifer, what was her last name again? Sharp? What was her last name again? Jennifer something, right? Gave text messages to Blake Lively because of subpoena, and that's why you're saying they're working together. I don't know. I feel like you're trying to talk about that, but I'm not quite sure. For example, on August 7, 2024, TAG indicated their intent to leverage... I'm also really hungry, so my brain is going to shut down soon. To leverage social to quiet/kill media coverage regarding public suspicion regarding Baldoni's disconnect from the film's cast. Sorry for my English, no worries. I don't know if they're working together. My understanding is just that Blake Lively subpoenaed these text messages, communications, and she handed them over. I don't know if they're like working together hand in hand or anything like that. Or if she found out that her employee was doing things behind her back and then she's like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to send these text messages over. I'm going to give Blake a heads up that like, hey, by the way, which has been happening with my employees. I'm sorry. Here's a tea. I'm not too sure. On August 9, 2024, Miss Nathan sent Miss Abel 2 links to an article, one from the Hollywood Reporter entitled, Did Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni have a rift over It Ends With Us? Sleuthing TikTokers think so. And that's the one that we read. And then one from Daily Mail. The Daily Mail article reports on allegations that Justin Baldoni was chauvinistic and borderline abusive on the set of It Ends With Us, and discussed this and other claims with respect to the film and the casting details. Miss Abel stated to Miss Nathan, so this is August 9, from Jennifer to Melissa, I can tell you've done a lot of work here. From Jennifer to Melissa, nothing about being unsafe, fat comments, sexual. From Jennifer to Melissa, thank fucking God. On August 8, 2024, Miss Abel stated that the situation moved from just monitoring and scenario planning to Miss Nathan and me having an off-the-record conversation with outlets on the Today Show. On August 9, Ms. Nathan indicated to Ms. Abel that she was on the phone with her sister, Sarah Nathan, a journalist at the New York Post and contributor at Page 6, and remarked that Mr. Baldoni's religion should be taken out from media coverage. She wanted to state, and mostly, the misogynistic. Baha'i needs to be taken out, and mostly the misogynistic. Later that same day, Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel a link of the article of Page 6 by Sarah Nathan entitled The Truth Behind It Ends With Us, Feud Rumors, blah, 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 stating, I knew she would keep uncomfortable. On August 9, 2024, Ms. Abel and Ms. Nathan discussed suppressing 2 stories to report Ms. Lively was uncomfortable on the set. So this is on August 9? August 9, right? August 9, yeah. From Jennifer to Melissa. So are we in the clear now? Do we survive? They responded, we survived. All press is so overwhelming. We've confused people. So much mixed messaging. It's actually funny if you think about it. Miss Nathan further texted Miss Abel that the worst is over and that Mr. Baldoni likely would not cancel, corroborating the nature of the ongoing campaign was designed to harm Miss Lively and conceal Mr. Baldoni's conduct on set. Let me tell you something, Melissa and Jennifer, they are forever going to be scarred by this, and they will probably never rate anything on text ever again. Everything's just going to be phone calls. I hope you don't get recorded. Miss Nathan further texted Miss Abel that the worst is over. So this is, again, August 9. I really think the worst is over. I do think the next few months definitely will be a tiny bit bumpy, but not canceled. This is on August 10. This is when shit was going down, or about to go down. From Jennifer to Melissa. Ha! Yes, I had some people text me too, and I just didn't respond. The narrative online is so freaking good, and fans are still sticking up for Justin, and there literally has been no pickup of those 2 articles, which is actually shocking to me. But I see this as a total success, as does Justin. You did such amazing work. She responds back, narrative is crazy good, so did you. So I think this is before shit went down, maybe. Miss Nathan texted later that same day. The majority of socials are so pro-Justin, and I don't even agree with half of them. Lol. Jesus, they're like reveling in this. Is that her name? Stephanie Jones. She continued, I mean, that was just a lot of work with talking everyone off the fucking ledge for those 2 pieces. Okay, so let me read the messages. August 10, August 11. All right. He doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need to press on him on just how fucking lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations like Jesus fucking Christ, other members feeling uncomfortable watching it. I mean, this is just so much. So I wonder, does this mean that they actually like witnessed some of the weird shit that Justin was doing? Is that what they're mentioning? Response, sorry, this is from Justin, no, this is from Jennifer Abel to Justin Baldoni. Nothing, very little pickup. Fans remain supportive of you and believe the issue of the feud is because she took control of the movie. Yep. The following day, Miss Abel confirmed to Mr. Baldoni that there has been nothing. Oh, sorry, I already read that. Earlier on August 9, Miss Nathan had shared with Miss Abel. We are crushing it on Reddit. Jed. Miss Nathan's reference to Jed is a reference to Mr. Jed Wallace, an independent contractor based in Austin, Texas, who retained by TAG to perform social media service on behalf of Wayfair and Baldoni in connection with TAG's engagement. The quotation appears to be a reference to efforts by Mr. Wallace to seed and influence online forums on Reddit, attacking Miss Lively and defending Baldoni. Again, this is on August 8th. We're all over the timeline here. You guys will love this. Link to TikTok. Basically saying that Blake needs to divorce Ryan, because he's made her into a meme. He's ruining her biggest movie of the year, forcing her to ostracize Justin, rewriting the script, etc. August 10. Miss Nathan stated to Miss Abel that socials are really ramping up. Oh, she writes, and socials are really, really ramping up. From Melissa to Jennifer Abel again, it's actually sad because it just shows you have people really want to hate on women. Same day, from someone of the tag team to Jennifer Abel. Hi team, so far extremely limited pickup on Daily Mail or Page 6. We'll continue to keep an eye out and send pieces as needed. And so far it's been steady coverage on pure speculation. We've already started to see a shift on social, due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative towards shining a spotlight on Blake and Ryan. Again, we'll continue to send links and screenshots, but wanted to send an update in the meantime. I know, I'm still here. I'm fucking hungry, Taxi. I'm still here. Further, Miss Nathan and her team at TAG helped generate or otherwise influence content put forth by various TikTok account holders. During the same time period, Miss Nathan and Miss Abel and their teams were heavily monitoring and had friendlies updating them, sought to address unflattering commentary regarding Mr. Baldoni while augmenting the spread of stories that were favorable to Justin. For example, on August 9, 2024, Ms. Abel circulated a screenshot of a post by a woman stating, Justin, the creator of a show called My Last Days, exploits the struggles of individuals facing terminal innocence for his own gain. He found my friend who was battling serious illness and followed her life closely. Despite her grace in not speaking ill of him, I sensed from the start that something was deeply wrong. Justin weaponizes therapeutic language, representing himself as a thoughtful and supportive, yet his actions reveal a very different reality. I actually have not heard about this. He portrays himself as an ally to women and the vulnerable, but it's all a facade. He manipulates the vernacular of care to mask his true intentions. In reality, none of the proceeds from the show benefited from the individuals he profiled. He even had the audacity to depict her hometown as a vibrant, affluent community, as a small, impoverished town. Oh, he even had the audacity to depict her hometown, a vibrant and affluent community, as a small, impoverished town. His portrayal was not just inaccurate, but insulting. Once the show aired, Justin took his profits and vanished, leaving nothing but a sense of exploitation in his wake. His behavior was not just tacky and gross, it was a betrayal of the very people he claimed to uplift. In response to an article, Ms. Abel stated, "I'm assuming that's not true in the slightest. Either way, we flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. I'm assuming that is not true in the slightest. The girl is on a very dangerous crusade to more followers. Either way, we've flagged to Jed and his team more serious actions on the social side. We'll monitor heavily for any shift in narrative seems based on this narrative. Read my last days and other commentary on it." So this is on August 9. Similarly, on August 13, the team discussed ways to use a digital team to amplify the positive stories like Mr. Baldoni. I wonder if you're going to get any text messages about Kirsty Flaw's interview. Did they talk about that? I don't think they do, right? All right, so this is from Jennifer Abel to a bunch of people on Tag. So this girl was claiming that Justin invited her to his hotel room years ago. I didn't want to share the vid, but blank did a screen record, and this is her account, so you guys can look at it. Part of me wants blank, his former assistant, to comment and say this never happened. Ridiculous. This is from someone to a thread that had Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel in it. Let us chat to Jed as well on this. This is the 18th. On any occasion, any member of Wayfair or the social manipulation team could text a link to a positivity story about Mr. Baldoni or a negative story about Miss Lively and ask someone boost the story to the public or engage in the comments to feel the desired narrative. On August 18, 2024, Mr. Baldoni circulated a TikTok video in which the poster criticized Miss Lively for not speaking about domestic violence in press interviews. A member of Ms. Nathan's team responded that she would let digital know. During the same time period, the media source inquired about HR complaints that were made on the set of the film. Ms. Nathan, Ms. Abel, and her team worked to suppress coverage of those HR complaints. I wonder how they got wind of that. Further on or around August 14, media outlets directly inquired about HR complaints made on set because they were being told there was at least 3 HR complaints filed against Justin Baldoni on the set of It Ends With Us, and inquired if the complaints were investigated and what the results were. Oh, I didn't hear about this either. By the time individuals who tagged Ms. Nathan Abel were aware of the existence of HR complaints and sought clarity as to specific HR complaints at issue in order to better counter them in the press. From someone to a group thread with Melissa and Jennifer. Hey guys, read the TMZ thing, read the HR complaints. Our understanding is that 2 were from Blake and blank, or the sexy comments. Is the additional one from blank the thing with Jamie and her apartment in NYC? Just want to clarify. Approximately 1 minute later, we get this response from Jennifer Abel. I think we need to position it as claims that were already out there about the kiss and the weight comment. Oh, so it's like, hey, it's already out there. These aren't new complaints. These are the same complaints you guys already heard about. On around the same date, Ms. Nathan engaged directly with several media platforms in discussing the issue of the HR complaints made against Baldoni while on the set of the film. On August 15, after Ms. Nathan texted Ms. Abel, the DM hounded me. Do I get a text message of this? No, I'm just going to read it. Okay. DM hounded me, read HR complaints. She stated that DM is not running any content about it, continuing, is that Daily Mail? Daily Mail, I think. Jen, this went so well, I am fucking dying. I have to call you later in a bit and tell you how this went. It was genius. So, okay. We have 4 majors standing down on HR complaint. I think we are fine on that bit. During the same period of time, Ms. Nathan and her team at Tag Planted or otherwise were involved in generating or influencing the content publicly put forth on social media, including Reddit and TikTok. For example, on August 13, various text messages were exchanged between Ms. Abel and journalist Sarah Nathan, who, as explained above, is Melissa Nathan's sister. These messages consisted of drafts of story outlining Ms. Lively's role in making final cuts to the film. After Sarah Nathan circulated the draft language related to Ms. Lively's involvement in the different cuts of the film, Ms. Abel sent Sarah Nathan revisions to the draft, which Sarah Nathan offered to amend. Scooter Braun is part owner of the company doing this. Which company? The PR company? or a different company. The article addressed, among other topics, Miss Lively's role in approving the final cut of the film, but emphasizes how Miss Lively contributed to almost every aspect of the film, that her husband wrote the most important scenes in the movie, and that she begged to remove one of her songs choices from the film, despite Mr. Baldoni's ownership of the rights to the book via his production company, Wayfair. The language contained in the article is almost verbatim copy of the language exchange between Sarah Nathan, and Ms. Abel via text, and reflects multiple of Ms. Abel's revisions to Sarah Nathan's original proposed draft. Oh, yes, with Melissa? Tag publicly shared this article on one of the more social media platforms, including Reddit, prompting various negative comments in relation to Miss Lively and her husband, and with the narrative that Miss Lively steamrolled or bulldozed Baldoni in the film for her personal gain. Yep, I definitely remember that. That very same day, Miss Nathan sent an article from Daily Mail entitled, "Is Blake Lively Set to Be Cancelled? String of hard-to-watch videos that have surfaced following tone-deaf Q&A to promote It Ends With Us could tarnish 36-year-old golden Hollywood image for good." Ms. Abel stated, "You really outdid yourself with this piece. That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Oh, Nathan responded, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." Following the August 2024 launch of Miss Lively's hair care line, Blake Brown. Oh, really? She launched her hair care line in August 2024? Oh, that's probably why she was like promoting it so much, because it just launched in August. Where she spent 7 years building. The Instagram account of the brand was flooded by harassing, derogatory comments, including many posted by user accounts that had no followers and no prior posts, suggesting inauthenticity, which did not relate to the brand's products. To take just one example, one comment post in the Blake Brown account, by a user that of December 19, 2024, shows user metrics indicating 0 posts, 0 followers, 0 following, commented, "How about you stop paying the media to trash and smear Justin? That would be a good start, you awful human being." Another user, also 0 posts, 0 followers, 0 following, posted, "We want Justin's cut of the movie. He actually care about DV." Mr. Baldoni and Sarowitz, along with Heath, not only encouraged efforts to target Lively and her family, but they went as far as to provide input ideas on how to negatively influence the narrative against Miss Lively and her family. Isn't Wayfair a type of sunglasses sold by Ray-Ban? Maybe? Perhaps? Wayfair, the furniture company? I heard there's some weird stuff with Wayfair, the furniture company. I forgot, it was like some weird thing that was happening, a scheme or something. I don't know. It popped this YouTube video. Additionally, on August 15, 2024, Baldoni texted Miss Nathan. All right, what did he text? So Justin Baldoni texts Melissa and Jennifer, the two troublemakers. "No worries, quickly. My partner Steve asked about flipping the narrative from this leak this AM about Ryan saying script was a disaster and he saved the movie." He also texted, "To something about Ryan claiming the female hired was a feminist writer, didn't know how to tackle a female film, etc., using their own words against them." Ms. Nathan assured Mr. Baldoni that this is an easy flip, before indicating that she was already working on a story for Variety and that would achieve this goal. As of August 16, 2024, Ms. Nathan was continuing to confer with additional reporters to release stories that would cast Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds in a negative light. Meanwhile, Miss Lively neither publicly commented nor directed any of her representatives to comment or to engage with print media, social media, and otherwise about the hostile work environment Mr. Baldoni, Mr. Heath, and Wayfair created. Indeed, throughout the time period discussed herein, Lively did not provide her publicist with details about the hostile work environment that she and alongside other cast members and crews had experienced. Moreover, Ms. Lively instructed her publicist not to engage with the press inquiries regarding the on-set behavior of Baldoni, Heath, or Wayfair. Experiencing this subtle tidal wave of increasingly negative public attention building around her, however, Ms. Lively began to suspect the extraordinary rapid shift in public sentiment and press coverage that began immediately after the rest of the cast and crew attended the world premiere was likely orchestrated by the men whom she raised HR complaints. Great, Mr. Baldoni retaliated because HR complaints regarding his behavior threatened his feminist brand. Yup. It does look bad for his brand, if all this was true. Baldoni was desperate to suppress any suggestion that he engaged in appropriate conduct, much less sexually harassing conduct, because it would entirely undermine his carefully curated public image as a feminist ally. 2017, Baldoni presented a TED Talk entitled Why I'm Done Trying to Be Man Enough. Baldoni challenged men to be man enough to stand up to other men when they hear locker room talk, when they hear stories of sexual harassment. I mean, I feel like Baldoni would be the perfect person, the perfect representation of someone who knows what to do and say and what not to do, right? And how not to harass. Jesus. But he's aware. Baldoni asked listeners, will you actually stand up and do something so that one day we don't have to live in a world where a woman has to risk everything and come forward and say the words "me too"? What is this? During the TED Talk, Baldoni displayed numerous screenshots of media coverage of himself from various sources, an example of his decision to use his social platform as a kind of a Trojan horse wherein he could create a daily practice of authenticity and vulnerability. Baldoni then claimed the response has been incredible, it's been affirming, it's been heartwarming, I get tons of love, press, positive messages daily. Makes me wonder if there's anything else that happened in his past and he was trying to get ahead of it by curating this persona of him, this image of him. I don't know. We'll see. Around the same time as TED Talk in 2017, Baldoni... Oh, the reason why I said that is because, I mean, he's doing it right now, so I wonder if this is like a pattern behavior that has been done before, maybe in the past. Just curious. Around the same time as the TED Talk in 2017, Baldoni announced the launch of a male talk show through his media company, Wayfair Entertainment, called Man Enough. Through that show, Mr. Baldoni sought to have a public conversation on camera that he had never seen men have. In one episode of his show, Man Enough, Mr. Baldoni hosted a roundtable with really strong men, including Heath and others in a reaction to the Me Too movement, to collectively learn from each other from experts, hear firsthand from women, and try to figure out how we can become better allies and respond in our actions. Baldoni questions the group, who at this table has seen something and didn't say anything? I mean objectification, harassment, and then not said anything. In 2021, the Man Enough franchise added a podcast also produced by Wayfair. The Man Enough podcast has featured episodes titled Strength and Unity, Men Supporting Women in Leadership, from misogyny's victim to male privilege, modern dating, consent, boundaries, and respect. Baldoni said in 2017 TED Talk, men are the problem. They created the glass ceiling, and if they want to be part of the solution, then words are no longer enough. By Mr. Baldoni's account, he became a feminist fighting for gender equality so quickly that he hadn't even realized that what he was and trying to do. Baldoni's own words, his activism starts with a mirror and then an audience of one. Baldoni has stated that he feels so deep responsibility to tear down the walls and power and privilege, and believe the world needs the men to show up, not in big ways, but in hundreds and thousands of little ways to create a better, more equitable world in space. I don't know. Create a better, more equitable, just world. Okay. Over the past approximately 7 years, and as relevant to this complaint, Mr. Baldoni has made the following statements. Let's just shut up and finally listen to the women in our lives. Men are going to have to start doing... Men are going to have to start doing now is recognizing when they made women uncomfortable and didn't realize it. I think that's when the other side of the Me Too movement is, I'm sorry. Growing up, how many times did I hear bros before hoes? How demeaning, how sexist, we built a system, the opposite of accountability. And now it's time to figure out how, as men, we can break the system. And it starts with showing what a real man is. A real man is someone who says, hey man, we're still friends, but it's not cool. Imagine being sexually assaulted and finally coming forward with this traumatic thing happening to you, and then the people act like you were to blame. Jeez, this really looks bad. So there's gonna be a bunch of these quotes here. I'm not gonna read them all. I'm sure they're all really bad. In some, Mr. Baldoni has created a public image of himself not being an ally, but an advocate for women, a fierce advocate. Contrary to this image, as set forth in the detail above, Mr. Baldoni has spent the last several months sifting the resource of his goal of wanting to bury and destroy Miss Lively for raising concerns about his and his CEO's harassing behaviors and other disturbing conduct. Lively, her family, and her business have suffered and has been substantially harmed by the Wayfair's party conduct. While there was a considerable online coverage of the film and Miss Lively leading up to the film's nationwide release in U.S. theaters on August 9, the coverage was mostly neutral. Some online discussions referenced the apparent feud between the cast members, but they included a small percentage of negative and positive mentions. Soon, however, Miss Lively and her team became aware of an increased negative media articles and social media coverage about her. The significant spike in the volume of negative sentiment towards Miss Lively included notable spikes on approximately August 8 and 14, and continued to trend mostly negative for the remainder of 2024. Dun dun! Indeed, as noted above, TAG itself noted shift due to their efforts as early as August 10. As of the date, the sentiment towards Miss Lively turned toxic with a sudden increase in negative comments, including hypersexual content and calls for Miss Lively to go fuck herself. Nearly decade-old interviews of Miss Lively were surfaced, commenting on her tone, her posture, her diction, her language. Let's see. Are these just comments on social media and stuff like that? Jesus. Ms. Lively was criticized for how she was marketing the film. She was repeatedly called a bully, a mean girl, controlling. She was criticized for allegedly marginalizing Mr. Baldoni, among other things. Articles which members of the Tag and Jones Works team working on behalf of Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair credit themselves with influencing, dissected Miss Lively and contemplated her cancellation. On information belief, the Wayfair team seeded its social media content into publications with small audiences and lax editorial standards, and then fed those posts and articles to publications like Page Six, Newsweek, New York Post, TMZ, BuzzFeed. These publications have larger audiences and greater reach, which significantly amplified the negative sentiment towards Miss Lively. Content from low-influence sites was often linked or referenced in articles on these high-influence platforms. I just want to... Page 6. Oh, so is this also that they were canceling her for? No. Okay, I'll take a look at these too. I haven't seen a lot of these, I don't think. Social manipulation campaign engineered by Mr. Baldoni and Wayfair helped create and sustain a negative news cycle and social media algorithm around Miss Lively. The online narrative continues to trend more negatively as compared to other weeks and months prior to the social manipulation campaign, as reflected in the sentiment chart dating from the publicity event on June 13, 2024 through to the present. This is precisely the fact that Baldoni Wayfair team hoped to achieve. They manipulated the social conversation to discredit and bury Miss Lively in retaliation for reporting her concerns about harassing and unsafe conduct during the production of the film in hopes of deterring Miss Lively for potentially taking these same concerns public. This campaign has been devastating to Miss Lively, including by causing substantial harm to Miss Lively, her family, as well as the business and people who work around her. So again, they talk about how she experienced mental, physical, professional, financial harms. The harms were substantial. She didn't believe she could proceed with public appearances or events without being forced to openly discuss what happened on set. Lively canceled a Target corporate event for her hair care company. She backed out of her scheduled role to host the premiere episode of the 50th anniversary of Saturday Night Live on September 20, 2024. They damaged her company, Blake Brown, a date which was the launch of her hair care company. Miss Lively depressed retail sales of Blake Brown products by 56 to 78%. This dramatic drop was completely at odds with the high satisfaction scores that Blake Brown products receive and the significant consumer testing performed before launch or its initial success after launch. You know, I think Blake Lively has great fucking hair. She's got great volume, great bounce. It's like nice, thick. It's fucking beautiful. Buying her product, we're not going to get that hair, okay? We're not going to get that same hair. Not even close. Not even close. Around the same time, the social media accounts for Lively's brands, including Betty Buzz, Betty Boos, were flooded with hateful comments, which began to echo through other social and traditional media outlets. They talk about Astroturfing, which we learned what it was before. How her social media account went dark. She limited comments on her post on her Instagram account to limit the toxic harassment she was receiving. This also affected Ryan Reynolds, mentally, physically, professionally, by his wife's and children's pain. Worst of all, however, this impact on their young children who have been traumatized, emotionally uprooted in ways that have substantially impacted their well-being. Oh yeah, the kids probably definitely heard about their mom. There are a few examples of substantial harm caused by this malicious campaign, which pervaded and continues to pervade all aspects of Lively's life. Miss Lively never sought out conflict with Wayfair, Baldoni, or Heath, but instead consistently attempted to speak up for a safe and respectful workplace privately in hopes of protecting herself. Be interesting to see if we get to subpoena Blake Lively's, because I don't know, because now I feel like at some point, this turns into a lawsuit. When you go through the discovery process, you're going to have your personal stuff being out there into the world as well. All right, and that's it. We're done. We're at the very end. These are just exhibits which I think we already went through. Exhibit B. Yeah, we pretty much went through this in the lawsuit. This is the nudity writer. Protection side letter. Lively ends with us. Signed. Sent for signature for Jamie Heath. Viewed by Jamie Heath. Signed by Jamie Heath. Signed pretty quickly. Document completed. Exhibit C. We read this as well. This is the Sony talking points for the promotions for the movie. I know. And that's why, like, I think a lot of times people just end up settling when there's a lawsuit because, you know, you don't want your shit out there. Fucking doing discovery. Or if you're hesitant about going after someone, it's like, yeah, you might have some shit on the other person, but, you know, there might be some stuff in your private messages that you don't want to be out there in the world. All this. All right. So before, I think, was this after the lawsuit? Yeah. So after the lawsuit happened, seems like people were starting to pull away from Justin Baldoni. For example, he received this award, Vital Voices Award. Statement by Vital Voices on decision to rescind Voices of Solidarity Award. The Voices of Solidarity Award honors remarkable men who have shown courage and compassion advocating on behalf of women and girls. On December 9, 2024, we recognized Justin Baldoni with this award. On Saturday, December 21, we learned through the news report about a lawsuit brought by Blake Lively against Mr. Baldoni, his publicist, and others that is disturbing and alleges abhorrent conduct. The communications among Mr. Baldoni and his publicists, including the lawsuit and the PR efforts they indicate, are alone contrary to the values of Vital Voices and the spirit of the award. We have notified Mr. Baldoni that we have rescinded his award. I think this is a statement by his co-host on the podcast. So she seems to have quit. I'm writing to let you know that I have had my representatives inform Wayfarer that I will no longer be co-hosting the Man Enough podcast. Thank you for trusting me with your hearts and stories, for holding space for mine, and for making the show what it was. I will miss you, the listeners, so much. I love what this community created together with every fiber of my being, and that's because of you. As this chapter closes for me, I remain committed to the values we built together. Thank you for being here for me, for trusting me, and being by my side for the last 4 years. We all deserve better, and I know that together we can create it. Because, usually it's like you want to wait until more facts are released. You want to wait until the other side has to respond. But I think a lot of people are kind of separating from Justin because there are text messages, and the text messages, I'm assuming they believe, looks really bad. I will have more to share soon as I continue to process everything that has happened. In the meantime, I will continue to support everyone who calls out injustice and holds the people accountable in their way. Accountable. Wait, did I read that wrong? And holds the people standing in their way accountable. What was this? Oh, okay. So this is Jennifer Abel. So Jennifer Abel, again, was working with Melissa to go after Blake Lively and her reputation. Let's see what her statement is. This is from Jennifer Abel. I'll zoom in for you guys. Hi, I never thought the day would come when I needed to defend myself with my own peers, but this certainly has been an interesting and devastating, quite frankly, couple of days, so here we are. But here are the facts. No, I was never subpoenaed. I found out my private text messages and emails were included in the complaint after I received it on Friday, and the New York Times contacted me 1.5 hours after receipt. They already had reviewed 80-page document and had questions prepared, and apparently also received thousands of pages of documents with our correspondence that we never saw. So it was clear this was a coordinated effort, but nothing we haven't seen before since I've been working the talent PR for over 15 years now. Wait, what? She's been working over 15 years now? Maybe the picture of her was old, because she looks really young in that picture that they use. I had recently left my previous firm, at which I was still with during this campaign, with a team who all participated in the campaign and a boss who oversaw. Oh, I see. Because now the boss is like, no, I had no part into this. You went rogue and did it on your own, right? And who had access to my work emails, work phone, so you can deduce from that what you will. What the cherry-picked messages don't include, although not shockingly as it doesn't fit the narrative, is that there was no smear implemented. No negative press was ever facilitated, no social comment plan, although we prepared for it. It is our job to be ready for any scenario. But we didn't have to implement anything because the internet was doing the work for us. Sure, we talked about it, contemplated if we needed certain things, flagged accounts that needed a monitor, worked with social team to help us stay on top of the narrative so we can quickly act if needed. And yes, we rejoiced and joked in the fact that the fans were recognizing our client's heart and work without us having to do anything. But keep our heads down and focus on positive interviews for our client as the texts show. We sophomorically reveled and again joked privately to each other about the internet's feedback to the women whose team was making our lives incredibly difficult over the course of the campaign. I'm human. I want to know was Blake Lively's team making their lives difficult? If their stories were like sort of getting picked up, not really getting picked up, like the anti-Justin stories, it seems like they were like, oh, it's not getting picked up. Haha, we're doing fine. Oh gosh. Also, I mean, she works in PR. I just don't know if this is even a good response. It seems like a horrible response. Because even though she's saying, they're like, oh no, we're just preparing for it. You know, we didn't do anything. It's like, yeah, but then like the articles with, you know, the Daily Mail stuff, it seems like you're like planting stuff. You're doing like, you know, hiring another company to change the narrative on Reddit. It's like, it's being downplayed, it seems to me. I don't know. I just feel like, I don't know if this is like a really good start to their statement. I'm human. The long hours, months of preparation on top of the days to my scope, it felt good to see that although we were prepared, we didn't have to do anything over the top to protect our client. Well, I felt like because, you know, the interview got up with Blake Lively, it really spiraled out of control. And then at that point, they probably didn't have to do much. But it seems like in the text messages, they were still doing things. They weren't just sitting back and waiting to be proactive and respond if shit goes down, if shit hit the fan against Justin, right? Seems like they were being pretty active. Incredibly difficult, you say? In what way? Funny you should ask. I was notified at the start of the campaign that the opposing team had been planting horrible stories about my client as a failsafe, and my client did not comply with the demands set forth for the campaign. All right? Which is why we brought on Crisis, and it's not something that I do. My sole job was to put together interviews, screening opportunities, and speaking opportunities for my client in support of the film, a standard scope of work. I did my job. Now, what kind of woman would work against another woman who was a victim of all things being claimed? Thanks for asking. After reviewing the evidence, facts, hard proof that countered every single thing that was being claimed and demanded at the start of the production, I made a choice to stand by my client of almost 5 years who had dedicated his life to the equal treatment of others, especially women. He had no incidents of negative treatment of others, and who had a wonderful community and team at Wayfair who all held same moral fortitude and lived their life accordingly. So she writes he had no incidents of negative treatments of others. I think there was like 2 things that popped up, but they quickly dismissed it without even I don't know, like it seemed like they just dismissed it because it was like, oh, this is probably fake, right? This is probably a lie, right? But they didn't even know the full story. As representatives, we all have to make that choice, so I did that my best of my ability and felt good about our efforts. I don't know, I have a hard time believing that someone who works in PR like wrote this. Did they really write this? It just seems very like, I don't know, defensive, cavalier, and kind of like, like she just like typed it out really quick. We had no incidents. No incidents. As representatives, we all have to make that choice. So I did that to the best of my ability, and I felt good about our efforts. Is my client perfect? No. In fact, he says he's not perfect. So constant to the point, I tell him he needs to be less self-deprecating because it could be taken the wrong way. Are Blake's feelings valid? It's not my position to say or speculate what she was feeling in those moments, as she claims. I would never summon one for speaking her truth, but at the end of the day, if it's not the truth, there is evidence that proves otherwise. Then, as a representative, I have to do what I feel is right as well. I feel like it'd just be best to just keep it short and not really get into some of the stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there are some things that they told him not to do. Like he wanted to share the DMs of other DV survivors. They told him, don't do that. He wanted to share, like, I guess the birthing video or something, and they told him not to do that. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to read this today because I'm pretty fucking starving at this point, but let me see, because I could have sworn it was all text messages. Oh no, it's a lot more than that. All right, well, you know what? Fuck, this is like 52 pages. I'm not gonna read this today. I'll do this tomorrow. So we're gonna continue the stream tomorrow. It was very long. Holy shit, I didn't realize it was gonna be this long. Like I knew it was 80 pages, but I could have sworn it was just like full of text messages and stuff like that. Because I'm fucking starving. All right, y'all. So we're gonna end the stream today. So far, we covered the complaint that Blake Lively filed with the Civil Rights Department in California. It is not a lawsuit, but it is a complaint that's been filed so far. And it seems like we're going to be able to find out soon how she got these text messages. I mean, I already know. I already know the answer to that. But we'll find out tomorrow how she got these text messages. And then, oh yeah, fuck. I was going to talk about, damn. So I'm sorry. I didn't think we were going to spend this much time doing the other complaints because I was going to do everything else. But after Blake Lively's complaint went out, Amber Heard also spoke about this as well. This is her statement. Amber Heard speaks out about Blake Lively allegations against Justin Baldoni. I saw this firsthand. So here we have Amber Heard inserting herself in the situation because maybe she's waiting to come back. She's like, I need my moment here. When can I come back? When can I come back? When can I fucking get out of Spain and come back to Hollywood? Amber Heard said social media is a lie becomes the truth. Social media is where the lie becomes the truth. In the response to the complaint Blake Lively filed against her, it ends with us co-star Justin Baldoni telling NBC News on Monday she saw it firsthand. So I knew she was going to jump on this. I knew she was going to jump on this because Melissa Nathan, apparently, same person or same company, same woman that was hired by Johnny Depp when he was trying to also have a better narrative in the media against Amber Heard. And so I knew she was going to jump on this because then she's going to be like, see, guys, look, the same thing happened to me. They tarnished my reputation. They destroyed me. It's like, Amber Heard, in your scenario, I mean, at least with what we know so far, who knows, more things might come out. But with what we know so far, Amber Heard, your situation is very different. You single-handedly destroyed your own reputation because she's got to remember that when she said she saw it firsthand, yeah, I'm sure you did see it firsthand because you were on the other end of it for 6 fucking years. For 6 fucking years, she had the narrative where people fucking supported her. People were like, oh, you know, Johnny Depp is the abuser. Amber Heard is the victim here. Poor Amber Heard. You know, she even had the hearing in the UK that she went to. Like, God, it's just so funny that she just wants to assert herself and be a part of this. And honestly, if she wants to support Blake Lively, she really shouldn't have said anything because Amber Heard already has such a negative connotation that Amber Heard and, I don't know, Amber Heard inserting herself and then like having her name being brought up with Blake Lively, like that doesn't make Blake Lively's situation it doesn't make it any better. Hi, Crosby. How are you doing today? How's it going? Hello. Thank you so much for the tier 2 sub on Twitch for 78 months. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you. Yeah, because remember, like Amber Heard had the tides were with her for 6 fucking years. And then the trial happened in Virginia. And so there was like a major hiccup with the makeup company revealing that like, hey, you know, when she used her bruise kit, our bruise kit wasn't out during that time. And so that blew up on social media. But I mean, people weren't hating on Amber Heard yet. It was just like, okay, well, is she lying or what? What the fuck is going on here? It wasn't until I think we had Dr. Curry did a pretty good job. Dr. Don Hughes didn't do a great job. And then we had Amber Heard testifying on the fucking stand. And that is where her credibility tanked. It wasn't because of other people. It was because of her. So her trying to jump on this bandwagon, like, see, guys, look, Blake Lively is being unfairly hated on. She got unfairly canceled. Me too. I'm part of that too because the same people who did it to her did it to me. So, yeah, I just think it's just, to me, it's just ridiculous. There's just too many lies with Amber Heard. And I think genuinely people wanted to give Amber Heard a chance because, you know, for 6 years, they thought she was a victim, right? So imagine being lied to for 6 years. Keep her coping in Spain. She still hasn't donated the not pledged the money. I don't know what's up with Amber Heard, but oh gosh. I was going to go more into Amber Heard, but I'm just really hungry. I'm starving. But, you know, I knew she was going to insert herself. And then also, I want to bring this up too. I feel like New York Times, weren't they also pretty like pro Amber Heard, if I remember correctly? I feel like they were also trying to bring Amber Heard back, you know, by trying to say like, oh, look, you know, this also happened to Amber Heard. That also happened to Amber Heard. Are we seeing similarities here? It's like, no, there's a difference between Amber Heard and Blake Lively. Huge major difference, at least so far. We're only at the beginning of Blake Lively's complaint. We haven't heard from Justin Baldoni yet. All right, but guys, I'm sorry, Corgi is starving. I'm starving. I'm gonna go eat. We're gonna continue the rest of the stream tomorrow. We're gonna cover the lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. His former PR is suing him, and that happened a couple days afterwards. So does all this seem orchestrated? Yeah, of course. I feel like you don't just do things to do things, right? You usually orchestrate it with teams and all that stuff. Doesn't surprise me. It's fucking Hollywood. So it doesn't surprise me that the New York Times article, you know, already had this, all the information. They wrote the article, people found out about it, and then a couple days afterwards, the PR team is now suing Justin. It doesn't surprise me. But so far, for what we've seen, I mean, the text messages are really fucking bad. They're pretty bad. The allegations are really bad. But because we have so many witnesses on the set, we should be able to have whether or not people are going. We should have. Sorry, I'm just too fucking hungry to talk right now. We should know whether or not people are going to support the claims made by Blake Lively, or people who are going to say, hey, actually, that's not correct. Right. She's misrepresenting this. This is wrong. So, just wait. We'll just wait. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll read Justin Baldoni's, the lawsuit against him. And guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys have a good one. I hope y'all take care. Is it Happy Thursday? Yeah, Happy Thursday. Merry Christmas. I think Hanukkah already started. And hope you guys have a happy holidays. Appreciate you guys being here. And then if you guys didn't watch this I didn't realize this video was gonna be so long. I might make another video where it's like a condensed version of this. Like, oh my god, it's so long. Yeah, we might do a short version of this video. Amber's dog should sue for defamation. I will say Amber Heard did have very interesting Halloween choice. Because I was trying to find a picture of Amber Heard for like the thumbnail. She was a clown for Halloween, which is a very interesting choice. Hold on, I'm trying to find a picture of her without. I'm trying to find a picture of her without her kid in it. Sometimes they blur the kid's face out, and sometimes they don't. But that's our girl right there, Amber Heard. She got that lovely clown makeup on. What is this? This one right here. Oh, why is it so blurry? What is this? Her daughter's costume was way cuter. Way cuter. All right, y'all. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll cover the rest of the all the drama between the co-stars. It ends with us. Like, dude, it's fucking wild. It's wild. I actually did not think we were going to get any tea. I thought it was just going to be dead. I thought Blake Lively was going to be forever canceled. And maybe we'll see her in some movies here and there. Ryan Reynolds will continue doing the successful Deadpool shit. And then Justin Baldoni will continue doing his movies and stuff like that. And then we wouldn't hear what the fuck happened on set. But now we know. Now we know. We know what went down. Did she use her bruise makeup? Does she have a second child? I don't know. People said that she's pregnant right now, but I have no idea. I haven't kept up with her. I know that she's still in Spain. That's all I know. She's still in Spain. Let's keep it that way. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Take care.